A very good evening, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in, all around Australia or indeed all around the world on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Welcome to night 4 of week 1 of term 3 for 2024 and a brand new look Spreyton side of Thursday Night Motorsport. I'm Zach Caven, Daniel Correa-Sars here alongside us. Big night ahead tonight. Huge program ahead of us here because we've got 2 sprint races coming up in the entree and 2 in the main course as well. We've done away with open wheel Thursday nights. They've moved to Tuesday nights, and coming back to the fold is the Spreyton side of Porsche Cup in the main course slot, getting underway at 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. 2 sprint races from Road America, but Road Atlanta, I should say. But first up, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind, first up, welcome to the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, LMP2. And welcome to the famed Mugello circuit in Tuscany, Italy, for round 1 of their campaign, which is, I might add, also a sprint race affair. We've had sprint races left, right and centre in opening week of term 3, and rightly so, because it did produce the goods on Monday night in GT3 as well. There's the track weather and everything else you need to know with regards to the agenda for the night ahead, as DownForce Legends returns to a broadcast slot on the platforms of the GSRC. We're on the Grand Prix circuit here, 5.19 kilometres, 18 degrees the ambient temperature at the moment. Sorry, that's the on-track temperature. The ambient is actually 19 degrees, if you can believe that. So we're just a little bit warmer ambient than we are on the racetrack, which leads me to believe that we might have a little bit of rain on the horizon. It's usually the way when it is, actually I can see it from the aerial shot. You might be able to see the car just going through top of screen at the moment on the left-hand side there. There is spray being kicked up at the moment. So whether we've got rain for the whole night or just for a couple of sessions remains to be seen. It's always the way when the water's on the circuit, the track's colder than the ambient every single time. 10:23 in the morning, June 8, 2024. 18 kilometre an hour winds in a southerly direction, very southerly southeaster, and 85% humidity, overcast conditions. Let's have a look off the top, ladies and gentlemen. As I say, we've got LMP2 first up and Porsche Cup second up. Let's have a look at the schedule that awaits us throughout the course of the next 10 weeks here, and there will be a mix of sprints and longer form 40-minute races throughout the course of the campaign here. Tonight we're at Mugello in Italy. Next week, Circuit Zolder in Belgium. Then on to Motegi in Japan. On to the famed Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit in Melbourne, Victoria for round 4. Silverstone will get us to halfway. Laguna Seca, Road America, a 2-week swing through the United States, followed by another trip to Japan to the Fuji Speedway, and then back to South America for a trip to Interlagos. And we'll finish it off on the Daytona International Speedway road course, and we're looking forward to that immensely. Of course, these cars more synonymous with the Rolex 24 when we get to Daytona, of course. Daniel Correa-Sars, good evening to you. Terrific to have you back. Thursday Night Motorsport up and away for another term, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the evidence to prove the point. It is tipping down.
Thanks, Zach. Yeah, it is absolutely wonderful to be back. We had a nice earned break, but I will admit I had a little bit of an itch for that GSRC Motorsport fix. And now we are back, and what a way to kick off our new Thursday night. LMP2, these are absolute pocket rockets, which will be evident soon, and we can see that the time has fast-forwarded here for the first race, and it looks like most of the water has dried up off the circuit.
It still looks as though there might be a little bit of a wet line there, so keep your eyes peeled on that. 12:30 in the afternoon now, so yes, that morning rain has cleared. But the track hasn't completely dried by the look of that. We'll get a clear indication of that for you very shortly. Have a look at this field, ladies and gentlemen. It is packed and stacked with talent. Matt Distill, Aidan Luthwaite, the front row. Ryan Howe, Jackson Dial, the second row. Adam Lavis, Jackson Rayhana, the third row. Matt Schmidtke, Guy Leach, the fourth. Brendan Whitaker and Trent Allen from row 5. Row 6, Chris Noble and David Christensen. Row 7, Ashley Lear and Aidan Schweikert. Row 8, Adam Hayne and David Baz. Row 9, Chris Stark and Joe Baldwin. Row 10, Blaine Thoburn and Adam Johnson. Row 11, Philip Butler and Nick Wood. Row 12, Greg Heaney, Warren Ibert. Row 13, Aidan Schultz, Jacob Vickery. Row 14, Brett Bradbury, Pete Matson. Row 15, Sam Stride, John Baldwin. Row 16, to finish it off, Tristan Koch and Kurt Nommensen. Safety car, oh God. The safety car at the front of the field and on the start-finish line. We've got a good 4 minutes ahead of us here of fill time, Dan. We're going to earn our money here, mate, because this is a full one-lap formation lap to get us going. And we don't just get this treatment once, we get it bloody twice when we get to race 2 as well. And that just means one thing and one thing only, ladies and gentlemen. I apologise in advance. It is going to be an exceptionally tight turnaround between the finish of this race, or the 2-race program, I should say, this round, and of course the Porsche Cup getting underway, and it's sprint racing too as well. So there might be a problem actually for some of these guys getting out of this server and into that one in time for qualifying. I'm not sure if we thought about that one before we got on. Oh, geez. Could be an interesting night ahead of us here. So we've been on the grid for 2 minutes. That means that the time has come for the pace car to take off from the grid. I can still see some water on that circuit.
Yep, and you can see the
spray being kicked up. It's minimal from the safety car, but it'll increase once these guys come up to speed and get underway. So greasy conditions to get us underway. What's going to be interesting here, I guess, Dan, we're going to earn our keep tonight, mate. I have been complimented before for my ability to pad. Looks as though that's going to continue here and now. What I'm interested in here, mate, is, Matt Distill, been a regular in the club for quite some time now, but he's got a pole position. This championship will allow a couple of our, with no offence or malice intended here, or no disrespect, I should say. This might allow some of our lesser known names on the platforms of the GSRC to make a name for themselves. New car, new playing field, and somewhat even given the lack of experience a lot of these guys will have in these cars, because when you're in a league like ours or a club like ours where there are many different playing options each season, when we throw something like this at them and say, look, new car, new toy, new series, anyone that wants to give it a crack that hasn't yet purchased the car has a very limited time in which to get up to speed with it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But the only benefit for those is that the LMP2, as it's known, of course, it is the Dallara P217 if you want to get technical, but it's a car that's relatively easy to pick up, but it's very, very difficult to master. It's one of those cars where it's ridiculously light. It's a weapon in a straight line. It packs fantastic cornering ability, but it's those who take it that extra step and that learn how to abuse the mechanics of the car and the downforce and the trust that you get given with that downforce that can really, really break out those extra tenths, and in some cases even up to a second. Look at that grid. Look at that grid. I'm so happy to see that many cars on track, and I hope that it continues for the rest of the season.
Oh, 100%. That's the gamble the club takes, isn't it? When they throw a new championship at the club here, the members, it's a gamble, if you like, on their part. It's paid off so far, but will the novelty wear off, or will these guys absolutely love the living daylights out of this caper and keep showing up week on week. I mean, we've seen great numbers in recent times for GT3, for GT4, for supercars. The Formula V numbers were good last season. The Super Formula Light numbers started outstandingly and then slowly dropped down as the season went on. We've seen it ebb and flow across all categories, across all seasons. It's one of the reasons the Porsche's had a spell. So, yeah, like you, I hope to see this championship thrive and flourish. We're a little bit disappointed though, folks. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. We were all waiting for another season of Formula V. Maybe later in the, you know. But my neighbours are very happy about it because I won't be blasting the old sound meter off the Richter. The old decibel meter reading has been rather high here in previous editions of Thursday Night Motorsport. Might not be as high this time round, but we'll wait and see how the next 40 minutes plays out. So 15 minutes for Heat 1, 25 for Heat 2. Grid coming up onto the main straight. Field in the control of the pole sitter, Matt Distill. Aidan Luthwaite alongside him. A new era for the DownForce legends. Formerly, of course, it had been the SR8 and the SR10 Radicals. Now we go LMP2 racing on a Thursday night for the first time. Let's do it from Mugello. Big gap between about rows 11 and 12 there. But the rest of the field got underway perfectly. Whoa. Running down towards the first corner, Jackson Rayhan has been thrown wide. Had to take evasive action there because poor old Jackson Dial was a little bit caught up, and Guy Leach as well. Rayhan has been swamped and has dropped back to 6th in behind Adam Lavis. Surprisingly, yeah, Pulse Tuning do have a point there, actually. Hello, John Merritt and co. The European summer has been a bit average. I mean, look at the French Open. There's the first one. There's the first one. Jackson Rayhan is off the road as well. Jackson Rayhan is off the road. Driver's right there. Have a look at him. Jackson Rayhan dropping, plummeting right to the back of the field. Unbelievable. There's the first hot shot. Caught up, tripped up by these conditions. Already compromised by getting fed wide at turn 1, taking evasive action there, and then, unfortunately, these things don't bang wheels too well. So Summit Sim Sport and Jackson Rayhan are down in 27th position now. Guy Leach is sitting 4th. Up ahead of them, Aidan Luthwaite's going nicely. It's Jackson Dial that Jackson Rayhan got into the side of, the other Whiskey Business stable entry. Whittaker Motorsports, Brendan Whittaker's dropping down the order at the moment as well. So a lot of drivers being brought undone in the early stages here. Either through no fault of their own or other circumstances. Some of them taking evasive action, some of them just going a little bit too hot, some of them just not yet comfortable with these cars in this environment. Oh, down the inside goes Aidan Luthwaite, beautifully done. To go down into second place now on Ryan Howe. And then obviously the old hazard of getting caught up in other people's incidents and other people's garbage. We see it all the time. So Matt Distill leads, and he does so by a second on Aidan Luthwaite. Ryan Howe, Guy Leach, Jackson Dial. The top 5, Adam Lavis is 6th, David Batts, Chris Noble, Aidan Schweikert, and Lane Thoburn. The top 10, Nick Woods 11th. Ash Lear, Adam Johnson, Joe Baldwin, Sam Stride, and Chris Stark, with John Baldwin up 13 spots already, up into 17th spot. Sam Stride up 14 spots. Nick Wood up 11. There are some big movers early on, but there are some big losers in all of that as well. Christian Koch has been into pit lane already. Philip Butler has also had a difficult opening lap here. Warren Ibert, Aidan Schultz are down the back of the field. David Christensen's down 15 spots. Adam Haynes down 10. Matt Schmidtke, Jackson Rayhan down 17 apiece. And with it being a wet race, lap times are a lot slower than what they would normally be in the dry weather conditions here. So that will shave a little bit of time off the clock in terms of the amount of laps that these guys will run. 15 minutes won't get you as many green flag laps as it would if we were in the dry. So we're just coming around a complete lap 2 now. I reckon 8 laps, 9 laps, if we're lucky. 8 probably is my best bet. Across the line we go. 3 minutes 50 on the clock as they do cross the line. Oh, jeez. Not much between Ryan Howe and Aidan Luthwaite. Luthwaite down the inside to 1. They've caught Matt Distill. Oh, double!
Oh, that's huge!
Luthwaite in the wall! That is an enormous shot.
No, he's out.
Luthwaite's night is done.
Yeah, that rear tyre is broken. The rear right tyre has come off, and he is now towing back to pit lane.
It's not completely done. I mean, there is still another race to come.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's for race 1.
What do you do? I mean, yeah, that's so unfortunate for young Aidan Luthwaite here. Have a look at this. On the exit of turn 1. Oh, Howe was already into the side of him as they were coming round. Wheel-to-wheel contact pretty much all the way around that corner. Distill, Howe, Leach, Rendial, Lavis, Baz, Noble, Schweikert, Wood and Thoburn. There's Dial. We're right on board with him. Yeah, it was always going to be interesting to see how these guys dealt with these conditions in the early stages and dealt with the traffic. And it was remarkably clean for the first handful of corners. And then all of a sudden, the elbows came out. We're right on board with Jackson Dial down the main straight. We've gone back to Guy Leach now. Dial's behind him. Leach is all over the back of Howe. Howe's chasing Distill. Howe will get onto the defensive here as Leach goes down the outside. Remembering that there's probably more grip off the racing line than on the racing line. The up and under from Guy Leach on Ryan Howe, who went very deep into the corner and wide out of it, and it made it work to retain second position. Leach, Dial, Lavis, then Baz, Noble, Schweikert, Wood and Thoburn the top 10. So Ryan Howe sits second, doing a nice job of it. Leach, Dial, third and fourth. Distill's controlled this race nicely from the front. All the garbage has happened behind him. I shouldn't have said, by the way, Luthwaite's night is done. I mean, Jacob Vickery's also on pit lane as well. These guys will get another bite of the cherry. It will be a little bit later on this evening in race 2, over 25 minutes. Be interesting to see what the conditions are like come that time, because as you can see at the moment, there's no rain falling on the circuit. There's just a lot of standing water that these guys are trying to move. And as the track dries out, this will become a very interesting car race. And then the gamble when you get your first glimpse at the track conditions in race 2, whether you go dries or wets, that'll be interesting as well. That'll be a compelling part of the narrative, Daniel.
Yeah, and another thing to consider too is the way that these cars are designed, the way that the floor tunnels. That's someone off the track. I think that's Aiden Schultz. So he's obviously going for an adventure there.
Down, yep.
Yeah. The way that the floors, the underfloor is designed in these cars, because with the extra downforce, they dry the track a lot quicker than something like a sports car would. And the fact that there's 38 of these guys on the track means, that there was 32 of these guys on the track means that they're obviously going to dry it faster and faster with that many cars, and also the aero profile of said car. So when it comes to race 2, there'll be much less water. As long as it doesn't rain in between then, there'll be much less water, which means these guys will be able to go faster. And if you weren't already excited by some of the battles we've seen, it'll only turn up from there.
I would really like to know who had the warped, wicked sense of humour to throw these guys in the deep end, baptism by fire style, and give them a wet race, first cab off the rank. 10 points to that person. Whoever set the server up, well done. Excellent stuff. So we're on lap 5. We're at the 8-minute mark. Whoa! Off the road is Ryan Howe. Big time. So Distill leads for Barbecue Motorsport. Barbecue would actually help drive the track at the moment. Guy Leach, Jackson DL, Ryan Howe, and Adam Lavis, David Baz. Whoa, that was a big tank slapper. See, this is what I mean. It's either drivers tripping themselves up, drivers having to take evasive action, or drivers not being able to take evasive action because they've already been caught up in somebody else's incident, innocent bystanders. They're the three types of incidents we're seeing so far. A little bit of car-to-car contact. But if you've been able to somehow, in amongst all of this, keep your nose clean, you're reaping the reward at the moment. Whoa! Jackson DL!
Someone's been watching.
I don't know how he saved that.
Someone's been watching Lando versus Max.
Absolutely.
And took all of the track and then some.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting, too, because the comment at the start of the night, was, geez, we're getting some rubbish weather on the European summer front. Well, art is imitating life at the moment because, as I said, Wimbledon can't take a trick. They've had the roof on more days than not. The French Open had some atrocious weather. We know that Le Mans copped the same. But yes, the European summer hasn't been terribly kind, and it's nice to see, finally, with the Tempest weather system in play here on the iRacing platform, that art is imitating life at the moment and dishing up the rain at Mugello. Be interested to see what we get for Road Atlanta tonight. I get the feeling that because the Porsches can now race in the rain, we might be in for something similar. And Road Atlanta in the dry is good enough, but in the rain, oh boy.
So interestingly, Matt Schmidtke and Warren Ebbett down the bottom, it's saying that they're on dry tyres.
Interesting.
So that would match up to what Sean McLaughlin said on through the YouTube chat there, coming up to the crossover. So we've got just over 4 minutes to go. As David Bass tries to look to go then inside of Adam Lavis, it doesn't work. He'll stay there in P6. It's the closest battle thus far. Everyone else, the gaps have really extended. Here we go. David Bass trying to shoot up on the inside. It's actually a really good move as long as he can pull the car up.
And Adam Lavis is the type of driver that we know when we're this early into the championship, he won't openly or voluntarily get involved in door-to-door battles like that if he can help it. He'll just go for the I need to net results, I need to be consistent, I need to bag points approach. If you want to go a little bit harder in the early stages, he'll let you go. No point racing terribly hard this early in the championship. Yep, these guys have all got two drop rounds at their disposal, but you don't want to burn them too quickly, because if you do, you make a rod for your own back, because then you need to have a smooth, fault-free run for the rest of the championship. Now, big night of sport, of course, on the wide world of sports. We will have live score updates from the NRL throughout the course of the night. Of course, we're only a fortnight away from the Olympics getting underway. Oh, car wide there at turn one. In behind Jackson Rayhana, it was Sam Stride, and it was Brendan Whitaker that was off the circuit just briefly there, but he gathered it up. Chris Stark, Trent Allen and John Baldwin all behind that. There's a good battle for second unfolding at the moment, but Matt Distill's cleared out to a 2.8 second advantage. Rayhana's comeback has been immense. He's back up into 13th position from 6th on the grid. He dropped down to 27th. He's begun the
he got it.
Climb back through the field, and oh no, there goes Guy Leach. Yeah. Guy Leach is off the road. He's going to drop 3 spots as well. DL, Baz, maybe Lavis Snow. It's lap traffic that's got through as well. So Adam Lavis still trails Guy Leach, but he's very much within striking distance now. And we're coming round. I said we'd get 8 or 9 laps, so I'm actually going to be on the money with 9 here, because they're going to come across the line with 2:12 on the clock. The lap times have been at 1:46, the best so far from Distill, and they might only get faster if this track is drying out, as would be the suggestions from the chat thread. So that's actually good news, because we will actually get to 9 laps here, which is exciting for all concerned. Trent Allen. Oh boy, that's hairy. That's very, very interesting. So yeah, it has just flown on by this race, hasn't it? The up and under from Trent Allen down the main straight. Chris Stark's in pit lane. Starkey's on pit road. Is that incident points? Or is it something else? 13 3/4 minutes gone, ladies and gentlemen. We're inside the final 90 seconds now. 1:45.805 for Nick Wood, the fastest lap of the race to this point. LMP2 on its GSRC broadcast debut from Mugello. Spreyton side of DownForce Legends. Thursday night motorsport up and away for turn 3. Adam Lavis in 6th spot at the moment. Chases Guy Leach. Yeah, so Rayhana's climbed back through the field is where I got to before all hell broke loose there. He's up into 13th place now. He's not going to get into the top 10 and benefit from the invert top 10, unfortunately. But he is going to take 12th. Right there on the inside. Got him. Job done on Joe Baldwin. 12th for Rayhana. Unless something untoward happens up front on the final lap, that is where he will start race number 2. He's 9 seconds down the road from Aiden Schweikert. Well, it's been entertaining so far, Daniel.
It has, and we're on the last lap now, so Matt Distill with a very good gap at the front there, 1.5. Jackson Diallo almost the same. And so as long as he can hold his own, it looks like Matt will take race 1 here, the LMP2 season. And Adam Lavis is trying to get the move done on Guy Leach, who absolutely got fed a dummy by Ryan Howe earlier on, and just got caught out. Looks like he just lost sight of his brake marker, went off to the left side of the track and ended up dropping a couple of positions. Look at David Baz, 12 positions gained from the start of the race. It's actually a mega drive from him. 14 from Nick Wood. Sam Stride as well, 14 gains.
So Adam Lavis in 6th place. Matt Distill's on his way home. Half a lap to run. We're into overtime now, as you can tell there, ladies and gentlemen. Clock has expired. Checkered flag flies this time by. Ryan Howe, Jackson Diallo, David Baz, Guy Leach, Adam Lavis, then Chris Noble, Nick Wood, Lane Thoburn, and Ash Lear, the top 10. Aiden Schweikert, Jackson Rayhana, Joe Baldwin, Brendan Whitaker, and Sam Stride, the top 15. Jeez, that is commitment plus. David Baz hung out to dry on the final lap. But at the front, Matt Distill's victorious. Matt Distill has a broadcast race win. And he does it in LMP2 in DownForce Legends in Italy. 1:45.679 for Ryan Howe. He nags the fastest lap on the last lap of the race. Dial comes home 3rd, having got by Baz on the final corner. Guy Leach, Adam Lavis, then Chris Noble, Nick Wood, Lane Thoburn, Ash Lear. Then Aiden Schweikert comes home in 11th. We're going to be waiting a while here, folks, because there's still so many cars yet to come round. Everyone down to 22nd. Chris Stark yet to come round. Biggest winners and losers in all of that. Well, Aiden Luthwaite ended up in retirement. Phil Butler, Jacob Vickery, Adam Hayne ended up 2 laps down. So too did Pistol Pete Matson. He will be the last of the finishers here. And being a 9-lap race, 7 laps gets him to 75%, so that's fine. He's covered that off. Josh Zuno just pointing out something that I wasn't aware of. Hello, mate. Nice to have you on board as per usual. Matt Distill is the man essentially responsible for suggesting we run a series for LMP2, so there you go.
How did I space out on that? If I'm not mistaken, Matt Distill is the the representative of Spreyton side. That's right.
And there you go as well.
I should have remembered that because his last name is Distill, which is so apt.
Yes,
like
it is. Yeah. So that's really cool. That is really cool.
No, well, now we know why he picked LMP2.
To be honest, I actually didn't know. that was the connection, Spreyton and Matt Distill. Good evening to you, Chris Stark. Welcome in. LMP2 in the rain, first up for the new championship. Who thought that up, please?
Joe, our president.
Joe's just gone from being the most loved man in the club to not being the most loved man in the club.
That was about as much fun as sticking a hot needle in your eye. There were cars everywhere.
Yep. Adam Hayne just pointing out that he didn't look at the track surface rather than just looking at the overhead. You actually have to look at the track, and if it's wet, then yeah, slicks isn't necessarily a good call.
Yeah, a couple of the boys went out on dries, so that makes it interesting.
Oh dear. And now we get set for 25 minutes, mate, but not before another full roll-up lap. So at least you get an opportunity to suss out the conditions of the circuit there before you go. But the problem is you're going to have to make your tyre choice before you join up on the grid.
Yeah, I was looking at the weather. I'll bring up the weather. Where are we?
It's looking a lot drier.
Clear, partly cloudy, 0%. I might go dries this time. Let's see how we go.
All right, very nicely done. And how are you enjoying the initiation of this category in this car, mate?
I wasn't sure. I jumped in it last second, and when it was pouring rain, I went, "Are you serious?" But then I realised that my time was getting quicker and quicker and quicker, and you just got to rely on other people making mistakes sometimes. I'm never going to be as quick as your Jackson Ray Harmans, but you know they're young and they got full of energy and quick reflexes, not like us old fellas. But I had fun. I had a good time. I mean, I won my class in Super 3, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just loving the gentlemen's.
Yep, yeah, no, it's fantastic. And I know you were over the moon with the numbers in the supercars the other night, mate. They were fantastic.
Oh my God, like 60 cars was amazing. Hopefully Interlagos produces that many, although I don't know because not everyone's a big fan.
I'm not sure what the track is, to be honest.
Interlagos, it's Carlos Pace, yeah. So it's not a big fan track. A lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
I was practicing there early, and I'm not going to get much practice because I'm working 12 hours in the next couple of days. So it'll just be I just finish where I can and then make it up during the rest of the season.
I don't understand how you can't like Interlagos.
Yeah, exactly. It's a supercar. It's difficult, okay. Especially that back section as you come around. Yeah. Once you get down the front straight, you do your two lefts, then you got your right. After that, it's quite windy. It's not really suited to a supercar style car.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
And especially that turn one. Oh my God, in a supercar, a lot of us going in there. It's real easy for it to just be a pile-on.
And I saw, just going back to cover off Josh Zino's comment there as well, I think Spellcheck might have got the better of him there. I reckon he said the man responsible for putting this series in front of us, tabling, petitioning, lobbying, all those synonyms coming to mind right now, but they weren't coming to mind about 3 minutes ago when I needed them. But yes, thank you, Josh. Appreciate that. Hey, Starkey, going to let you go, mate, because the checkered flag is out on the warm-up. Go well in race 2.
There we go.
Can we just remind everybody, Dan, of the results from race 1, because we've got enough time to have a look at the grid for race 2 here in just a tick. And Sean McLaughlin and the Hayne brothers having some good banter there at the moment. So Matt Distill the winner by 0.8 of a second. Jackson Dial, David Baz, the next two through. Guy Leach, Adam Lavis, Chris Noble, Nick Wood, Blaine Thurburn, Ash Lear. I wanted to have a look at the gains and losses, but obviously I don't have that information on that table. But yeah, there were, as you'd expect, some big winners and losers in all of that. There were 3 cars that didn't make the finish. They ended in pit lane. There were a couple that finished 2 laps down. And the top 22, I think it was, finished on the lead lap. Just let's have a look over the page there and remind everybody. So Chris Stark was the last one on the lead lap in 22nd position. Everybody else a lap or more down. And will be interesting to see how young Aiden Schweikert goes in this second race from 11th. Will be interesting to see how Aiden Luthwaite goes coming back through the field. Ashley is on pole position for this one. He inherited the invert pole by virtue of finishing 10th in the opening race. Blaine Thurburn's alongside him, Nick Wood, Chris Noble, Adam Lavis, Guy Leach, David Baz, Jackson Dial, Ryan Howe, and Matt Distill, the top 10. And this is a whole new playing field because it was chipping down with rain for qualifying. So now we're throwing them out on a dry track. So that reinvents the wheel again. A night full of challenges for our field, our contenders, our class of the DownForce Legends cohort of 2024 Term 3. Season 18 for the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, or 24C Adam Lavis refers to it. I'm getting a dial tone in my earpiece, and I'm not sure why. Oh, that's
I
why.
think it's part of the music.
I was like, what the hell's going on there? I thought, well, it wouldn't be inappropriate. I mean, I do live in Queensland. I'm surprised we've not progressed. I'm surprised we're not still stuck on dial-up. But anyway, let's have a look at the rest of the group there for you. Aidan Schweikert, Jackson Rayhana from the 6th row, Joe Baldwin, Trent Allen from the 7th, Sam Stride, Brendan Whitaker from the 8th. From the 9th row, it's John Baldwin and Adam Johnson, the 10th row, Kurt Normanson and Brett Bradbury. Greg Heaney, Chris Stark from the 11th. Tristan Koch, Matt Schmidtke from the 12th. Aidan Schultz, David Christensen from the 13th. Jacob Vickery's out there on the 14th row of the group, but he shouldn't be because he's jumped the field a little bit there, has Jacob. Adam Hayne, Aidan Lutzwaite, Warren Ibert in there as well, Pete Natson. And Pete Natson and Warren Ibert actually not showing on this grid at the moment. Phil Butler, the last of the runners, in 32nd position right now. So we've got 30 starters. No Pete Natson, no Warren Ibert. And we're going to have a mad scramble from these blokes into the Porsche Cup server in just a few moments' time, I would suggest as well, once this race is over and done with.
Promise no more spill check issues.
Spill check.
And he spelled Zach wrong.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Daniel, for pointing that out. How's Josh going on a Thursday night? Good on you, mate. We love your input. No, not at all. Oh, dear. Hello, thanks for calling Domino's. Yes, 131166 was Pizza Hut. I'm just trying to remember what Domino's number was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Now, we're ready to rock and roll. Race 2 of the night. Quickly going around the grounds. Dolphins, Rabbitohs, 6-0. Quickly thanking some sponsors. We wouldn't be able to do this without Spreyton Cider, without Waste Options, without Orbic Australia, Lobesy Racing, and Wove Australia Flash Graphics, and also merch.tgsrc.inc. They're all the sponsors getting around Term 3 in 2024 for the platforms of the GSRC. Ready to fire. Ash Lear, front row with Lane Thoburn. This is almost as painful as a safety car lap at Suzuka. Just sitting on the edge of your seat and waiting for all hell to break loose, ladies and gentlemen. But this is going to be more intensely fought and faster by virtue of the fact that it's dry. This is going to be helter-skelter from the outset, I think, Daniel.
It is, and I didn't notice this before, but 1, 2, and 4 are all the Alpha Racing team. Wow, they finished real close to each other.
Yep, and great to see Chris Noble, Lane Thoburn in there, giving it to Ash Lear as well, giving him some invaluable support here, and vice versa. Of course, Noble the best of the finishers in the first race, but watch for him to work with Thoburn and Lear to give themselves some space between them and the chasing pack here in the second.
The 57 in the drive.
Jackson Rayhana.
Jackson Rayhana.
Yeah, absolutely. Set for start and ready to fire. Thursday night motorsport. It's a 4-race program tonight. This is race 2 of it. Round 1 of the DownForce Legends LMP2 Spreyton Cider. Thursday night motorsport live from Mugello in Italy. Let's go to work once more. 25 minutes the journey here. 3 wide already off the line. Green and away. The run down to turn 1. Not much better that start compared to the first one. At least they had a 2x2 formation going in the first start. This time around it was 3x3. Oh, double! 2 of the Alpha teammates have gone round. Extraordinary. Ryan Howe and Sam Stride have come undone on the opening lap. Brendan Whitaker caught up in that. Jackson Rayhana as well. All hell has broken loose at turn 1. Watch them slide like Skittles.
No,
they had nowhere to go. The crack blocked.
Jackson Rayhana up in there as well, as long as David Christensen. Yeah, ton of cars. 7
cars at least caught up in all of that. Beneficiaries included Jacob Vickery up 8 spots, Philip Butler up 13, Adam Hayne up 11, Aidan Luthwaite up 14, David Christensen up 11, and Tristan Koch up 10. Aidan Schultz up 14 spots already as well to 11th. Oh boy. It's an even playing field now. The deck is dry. and all bets are off. And like any real-world motorsport event, when you have a wet race that sets the grid for a dry race, oh boy, it produces some really interesting racing. Oh, wow. Magnus still nearly got cleaned up.
Oh, I thought he was going to get turned around, similar to what Aiden Luthwaite got spun in that first race. But luckily, they both stay straight. So actually, Lear, 141.3, leading this race. As that looks like Adam Lavis.
Adam Lavis.
Yep.
Adam Lavis in the gravel. See, this is the thing. There's going to be a lot of moving and shaking and wheeling and dealing, more so than usual in an invert situation like this. Obviously, we're going to see some movement in the top 10. That's already happened. Aiden Schweikert up into 6th spot, up 5 spots already. John Baldwin is 9th. Aiden Schultz is 10th. Chris Noble up 2 spots. Ashley right ahead of him at the moment, 0.12 the margin. Nick Wood is fending off Guy Leach and David Baz. Oh, Noble into his teammate Lear. What's going on here, please? The teammates have come together going up over the top of the hill. No multi-21 garbage going on here. And look at this. Guy Leach trying to go up at the outside, to go up the inside. No, not going to do it. Hung himself out to dry. There goes Nick Wood down his inside. And he'll bring David Bass with him potentially. No. Yes. Oh, trouble.
That's Nick Wood and Guy Leach.
Gone. Ashley is gone. Guy Leach is gone. 3 of them gone. Liz come off the worst for wearing all of that. So, yeah, obviously you'll have that usual movement inside the top 10, but because of what happened at turn 1, there's going to be plenty of movement elsewhere because of the fact that so many people got caught up, tripped up in the rain in race 1. So more movement than usual. So this will be more frantic, more intense than what we saw earlier. And it's faster because the lap times have plummeted down to 1:37.0 for Aiden Schweikert. And we've got an extra 10 minutes of it as well. Trent Allen a 1:36.913. How many of these guys are jumping out of this into a Porsche, and how big of a lifestyle adjustment or culture shock is that going to be for them?
Oh, huge.
The Porsches won't be as fast around here, but I mean, they're not as fast in general, but they drive so very differently. It's going to be, I envy the talent of our blokes because they do this on any given week. They go from one car to another and they essentially do it with consummate ease.
No, that's exactly right. It's a big change between these two cars, just for example. So one, you've got to take into account that an LMP2 has things like traction control. A Cup car does not. LMP2 car, the Dallara P217, 4.2 litre V8. The Cup cars, flat 6. It's actually a boxer 6, I should say, but yeah, flat 6. Yeah, 600 horsepower in the P217. I'm not 100%. Let's see if I can remember. It's something like, I want to say, I don't know, it's like 500-ish. I forget. But yeah, big difference. Aero packages on these cars. You don't really have a lot of aero on the Cup cars, so it's a big change. And just looking at all the carnage that happened in these first couple of laps, I mean, the big profiteer here, I mean, Chris Noble kept his nose clean, and now he's 1.9 seconds down the road, but David Baz and Schweikert are punching it right now. Look at this, still go down the inside.
Brilliant.
It wasn't a fluke to even in the first race, was it?
No, into 3rd place goes to Still. And that's the other thing as well. So you'll have wet weather performance, you'll have dry weather performance, and then you'll have people like Distill, Dench, Hobson, those usual suspects where it doesn't matter a rodent's rectum what the weather conditions are, they'll be fast and at the front anyway. So, yes, keep your eyes on this. Here is Aiden Luthwaite at the moment, rather, I should say. He's got Guy Leach right behind him, and he's got David Christensen right in front of him.
Really messed up that complex there. Guy Leach manages to get past. Trent Allen also close to Joe Baldwin here. And Chris Noble, something's working for him. 2.7 seconds down the road now.
Indeed. So Trent Allen, 9th place at the moment. Oh, boy. How good's this been so far? An intense opening 4 laps, and it's about 6.5 minutes by the time they get back to the line. And I'm expecting, based on previous incarnations of this format, this series, I'm expecting a splash and dash at some point, but then again, I'm not sure if that requirement has been put into the regulations or into the server settings for these cars. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't, depending upon the format, depending upon the category. So whether that has been stipulated that there will be a requirement for a splash and dash based on fuel tank capacity limits and settings, only time will tell. Chris Noble leads the way. David Baz, Matt Distill, Aiden Schweikert, Jackson Dial. Noble's checking out. He is indeed. 2.6 to the good. Noble's gone. So it's going to be very hard for Matt Distill here to do the double, with Chris Noble already disappearing into the sunset at Mugello. Or not quite the sunset, but late afternoon or mid-afternoon at least over there in that wonderful part of the world. And again, one of those progressive and civilised parts of the world that observes daylight saving, and it's the middle of summer over there, so light is not an issue for these cars, despite the fact that the headlights are on and there is no track lighting at Mugello. Here's Trent Allen. We'll do our best, ladies and gentlemen, over the course of the 3 hours to get your bingo cards filled up on a Thursday night. It's one of our favourite elements of Thursday night motorsport. Going back to when Grant Gill was at the helm, of course. Oh dear, we've had a fair share of producers and directors in this slot over the years, there's no doubt about that.
Chris. Yeah.
Hello, Chris Whittaker, nice to have you on board. No doubt cheering Brendan Whittaker on as well. Oh, seriously, on the subject of the great man, go to the Production Sports Car Racing Association of Queensland Facebook page. Good chat with him a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, not for the right reasons. His dad had a mechanical failure again, but given the nature of the conversations we have with him here, I put out a warning right at the start of the interview. I said this could go anywhere. I'm not sure if this is going to be clean for broadcast, but you know, stay with us. And it ended up being one of the cleanest interviews we've ever had. So not without the usual subtle, you know, digs and sledging as well. So no, it was very Walt Disney's type standard, I must say. So go and check that out if you wish. He didn't even swear, you're right. And nor did I. 9 minutes gone, which is probably the more surprising part. Did get a Trent Lavis reference in, though, as you can tell by the emoji in the second comment on the screen at the moment. Trent Allen on the subject of Trent. We're riding with Trent Allen at the moment. Looking back.
Ooh, down the inside.
Behind Allen. Oh, he's trying to get by Baldwin. Baldwin hanging tough around the outside. Go, trucker, go.
Oh, well done.
Hold Allen at bay.
These two have been smashing it for a lap now, back and forth.
Look at David Christensen and Guy Leach as well, right there hovering, lurking.
Yeah, and that's one of the, speaking of Guy Leach, that is not a person you want to leave any form of gap. Any form of gap. Guy Leach will absolutely take everything you give him and then some. So he's got to be really, really careful here. It looks like Trent just dropped off a little bit as we see Nick Wood at the back going into pit lane.
And Joe Baldwin as well. So that answers the question. Yes, there is a splash and dash element to this race.
Oh, did he shoot down the middle? No. Guy Leach will take the safe line, tucking on the inside. That's going to leave David Christensen. Oh!
Bang!
Just like this way.
Trent Allen.
Yep, and almost a mirror image.
Just as Chris Whittaker put the kiss of death on him by mentioning his name in the comments. Look at that. Oh my goodness. There you go. And you pointed out an element of detail that I wasn't aware of, great man. Thank you. Let's have a look at this again. He got some help big time by David Christensen.
Yeah.
There's the door for you. Oh, geez. Exit stage left. That's a shocker, isn't it? Chris Noble's gone, 3.6 to the good. David Baz holding off Matt Distill at the moment. Distill looking to get down the outside. No, not going to do it there. I must say, CW, I had enough trouble keeping up with who was in production sports, let alone any other bloody category. I didn't pay too much attention to that. But it was an enormous meeting a couple of weeks ago out there at the Paperclip to end the month of June. 3 days of thunder, as we call it, even though the title of the event was 2 days, it was run over 3. Yes, go try and work that one out, ladies and gentlemen. But then again, it is Queensland, so it's standard procedure to be confused up here. 11 and a half minutes gone out of 25. 1 minute away from half race distance. In the meantime, down the inside.
Speaking of race drivers, I could be wrong. I
Go
don't
for it.
know. I believe that Ryan Howe, down in P21, I believe that is the same Ryan Howe that races in the V8 Super Utes.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, no,
Could be
just
wrong,
have a look.
but I
Just
think.
have a look at the name dropping going on here tonight.
But I think
My
so.
goodness. How good.
If I'm correct, I believe he drives a Ranger, an orange Ford Ranger.
Copy.
Anyway, we'll see. Maybe that'll come up later.
Mate, I would not be able to tell you the last time I caught a Super Utes race, so I'll take your word for it. In the meantime, Aidan Schweikert, 5th at the moment. See, a lot of people think, oh yeah, you're so well immersed in motorsport, you see everything, you know everything. No, you'd be surprised at how quickly I can switch off if I'm not interested or I've got other things on.
That or the fact that there's how much motorsport.
Well, that's right too. I mean, this weekend alone, you've got IndyCar on. You've got NASCAR on. You've got the Australian Superbikes on. This one's one of the quieter weekends, but yeah, normally you'd have sport coming out of every direction. So, and of course, the big countdown up here at the moment is to Suncorp Stadium Wednesday night, State of Origin number 3. I've already got myself lined up with a nice couple of Canadian clubs for that one. That'll be great. In the meantime, we're riding with Matt Distill. 3rd place at the moment. The race 1 winner, up 7 spots. Aidan Schultz up 19, Adam Hayne up 20, Brett Bradbury, Greg Heaney both up 11, Matt Schmidt up 13, Chris Stark up 10, Jacob Vickery up 18, Philip Butler up 18. But the discrepancy here is the top 15 are yet to stop. Everybody else has splashed and dashed. Although Nick Wood's stop was 46 seconds and Adam Lavis's was 47 and Joe Baldwin's was 53 and John Baldwin's was 49 and Lane Thoburn's was 45. So they've all been tripped up by something. They've all been pinged for something. We'll find out what it is a little bit later on, I am sure. Trent Allen's out of the race with damage. Brendan Whitaker's done. Top 15 yet to stop, 14 yet to stop. Aidan Luthwaite, the first of those 2 have stopped. Chris Noble has checked out. He's gone. Very nicely done, CW. Well done. Look, to be honest with you, he stitched me up royally there. When Spreyton Cider start doing whiskey, I'll be the first customer. But most of you know by now, I'm not the biggest drinker in the world. I will happily plug Spreyton Cider because they are our sponsor. It doesn't mean I have to drink it. And I'm not a beer drinker either. I'm very selective. Very selective. David Baz, Matt Distill, and Jackson Dial, Aidan Schweikert. Distill's all over the back of David Baz. Bang, down the inside. Ryan Howe with a send on the inside. Nicely done.
That's great.
On Phil Butler. So 10 minutes gone. 10 laps gone, 15 minutes gone. It's interesting, yeah. I must admit, I started the broadcast on coffee tonight. I didn't start it on any sort of water or fizzy or alcoholic or non-alcoholic or bubbly. It was coffee. So if we can get Dare to sponsor the club, that'd be fantastic.
It would actually. They did a Maxibon flavored Dare, and I can't believe how good it was. I didn't think it'd be that good, but I actually quite enjoyed it.
I'm probably their worst customer because I only go buy it when it's on special at either Coles or Woolworths. It's about the economy, folks. You gotta take advantage of those bargains, those specials, those yellow tags where you can. All right, into the pit lane. Matt Distill from second position. Now, Distill's obviously aware of what's been going on for those around them. It doesn't matter what state you're in, when the sun goes down, you'll be up for hours. Yeah, well, mate, I'm always up for hours on a Thursday night. I always wait until good 90 minutes after the broadcast is done to wind down anyway. You're running on so much adrenaline in the commentary box. I don't know if there's been too many nights in the history of my involvement with this club in which I've gone straight from the booth straight to bed. Maybe one or two when I've done the run from home to Ipswich or Ipswich to mum and dad's in Cessnock or whatever the case may be. And I've been up for, umpteen number of hours. But, 9 times out of 10, it's always a couple of hours after the broadcast before I'm laying head on pillow. Don't worry about that. 17 minutes gone, and we've got Sam Stride in 19th place at the moment. Field beginning to cleanse. Top 8 yet to stop. Everybody that hasn't stopped yet obviously opting to run late. Varying strategies all over the place. Adam Johnson, the only one outside the top 10 that hasn't yet stopped. He'll be due, I'd say, next time by. Off goes Matt Schmidtke very briefly. And Aidan Luthwaite now. Luthwaite down the inside of Johnson. Got him. Johnson gets him back on the inside. Luthwaite's got him covered on the outside. Luthwaite goes to 11th. Chris Noble, 135.546, unsurprisingly. The best place of those two have stopped. 5.2 clear of Matt Distill. David Baz has got Jackson Dial covered by 8.2 at the moment. Aidan Schweikert's hassling Dial. Schultz is there in 4th place. A great comeback from him. Guy Leach, Adam Hayne and Brett Bradbury. And Matt Schmidtke, the top 8. 7 minutes to go. And still they run. David Baz has gone on to lap 12. Brett Bradbury peels off. 12-10 now. Dolphins lead Rabbitohs. Rabbitohs with a kick to come. Olympics not too far away as well, folks. Only a fortnight. The countdown well and truly on. I missed my opportunity, didn't I? I should have renewed the passport earlier and buggered off to France for a couple of weeks. Nick Wood is 20. I'm going to be perfectly honest with everybody. I renewed the passport recently, but I've got to plan my travel around GSRC commitments and West Brabant Radio commitments and Motorsport commitments, and it makes it very, very difficult to squeeze all the travel in. But France is on the to-do list. I must say probably Canada and New Zealand and Great Britain. The United States not without a very good health insurance cover. And with no disrespect to our American audience, I'm just not a fan of your open slither gun play. Or your presidential election at the moment either. I've got to work out some other areas that I'd like to go to, but they're the immediate ones that come to mind. I may as well try and get some use out of it this time. I only went to Singapore with the last one, so I had a passport sitting there for 9 3/4 years rendered useless because I didn't use it. Now, up over the top, we're watching Ryan Howe. We're watching Ryan Howe chase Ash Lear. Both caught up in incident earlier in the piece. Swarm of activity on pit lane. Top 7 on the lane. Baz, Dial, Schweikert, Leach, Haynes, Schultz, Schmidtke, all on the lane right now. Pavlo Hanna tuning in and enjoying the broadcast, mate. Great to have you on board. Michael Heaney pointing out that the USA coffee isn't worth the visit either. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm not sure you're allowed to take your own either, are you? In fact, I did hear, on the subject of coffee, I did read somewhere recently, and I'm not sure how true it is, but I would imagine that there's a fair degree of truth and certainty to it. The Australian Olympic team are apparently flying their own baristas and chefs over to France. Hey? Apparently. I read that. I read somewhere that, yes, some of the baristas and chefs from over here are being sent over to, I think it was baristas.
But
baristas are being taken over to France.
But you're going to
the Olympics.
France?
Yeah, for the Olympics.
So,
yeah, I know. I know. I know.
Okay.
I know. Yeah, I read somewhere. Yeah, I'm sure I read that. Anyway, doesn't matter. It is what it is.
Maybe nobody in France knows how to make a meat pie.
Possibly so.
Why wouldn't we? Because you're going to France. What other country does cooking and coffee better?
Well, apparently the Australian barbecue just can't be beaten.
No, that's fair. Now, hold on. That's fair. That's fair.
Oh, and if you were going to, if it was London, I'd understand taking, beer that needs to be refrigerated or cold over. I'd understand that, because some people just can't drink it warm. I get that, but yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, maybe it's just a creature comfort thing. It might just be a creature comfort thing.
Yeah, it could also. It's probably if we're talking about. Ooh.
Oh, jeez!
Guy
Leach trying to fire it down the inside of Aiden Luthwaite. The field is cleansed. We're racing to the checkered flag.
No, that's Jackson
Three
Dial.
laps to go at the line. Oh, it is two. You're right. Jackson Dial not. So Guy Leach was trying to get behind Dial, and it's Schweikert fighting for dear life with Ray Harner, Schultz, and Hayne in behind. Have a look at that. Boy, oh boy.
Oh, that's a good exit for Adam. Oh, it shoots right down the inside. Yeah, well done. Wow, he had an absolute rocket exit.
Now, yeah, sorry, I was getting my Aidens mixed up there for a moment. Of course, you've got Schweitek for Sharp EIT and Luthwaite for Whiskey Business. So you've got equally challenging pronunciations on the surname.
Oh, now he goes on Ray Harner.
And
Ray
two
Harner boxed him in.
formidable, very present teams. Have a look at Adam Hayne fighting hard here. Ray Harner's fought well to get back to 8th, but he'd be disappointed because he got caught up in that Turn 1 incident, which put to pay to any charge back through the field. So he's only gained 4 spots, theoretically. But it's been a lot, there's a lot more to that than what meets the eye. If you were just to look at the result sheet, you'd be like, oh, 4 spots, that's nothing. But it's actually been from the back of the field. Twice. 27th to 12th in race 1 after coming undone on the opening lap. Caught up. Wow, Guy Leach, that's a big send down the inside. And then caught up through no fault of his own, an innocent bystander on lap 1 of race 2. So not the night to be for Jackson Ray Harner, but he's still going to get a reasonable result despite all of that. That was phenomenal from Guy Leach. White flag next time by the line too, by the way.
So,
white flag next time by the line for Chris Noble. Guy Leach had nowhere to go, had to use pit exit. Yeah. To get down the inside and get that done on Jackson Dial.
No, I'm a big fan of Let 'em Race, but I guess a question could be asked, which is that considered the track? And what I mean by that is that initial part of the overtake. He was on the striped part where it splits the pit exit and the track, and then he continued on that trajectory. So I feel like no harm, no foul. They didn't come together, so it should be fine. But some people could argue that it wasn't the correct overtaking procedure for that part of the track.
Big cojones there, all right. The comment from John Simpson, I'll echo that.
100%. 100%.
Commitment plus. White flag in the air. One more time around the Mugello. Ray Harner trying to get to 7th. Goes to the outside of Aiden Schweikert. Schweikert driving a beautiful defensive line. Ray Harner trying to get the run, the up and under. Can't do that. Will then have to try and cover up Adam Hayne. Pulls out the draft and drag races Aiden Schweikert down the main straight. Watch Adam Hayne here once he gets clear air. He might just go for speed. What he does. Door closes on him though. Schweikert defends to the inside. Ray Harner onto the outside.
No, they come together.
On the outside.
Adam Hayne.
One left and gone. Adam Hayne gains 2 spots.
Oh, that's...
Massive contact, and Ray Harner's the loser out of all of that. The beneficiary is Hayne. What about that from Schweikert, though? The defence work. Not completely clean, but lost one, gained one. Fended off Ray Harner, but lost out to Adam Hayne in the process. Yeah. Extraordinary.
He went for the bump draft going up to turn 1. I thought it might be a little bit risky. But he managed to pull it off, pulled back, and then Ray Harner got together with Schweikert there. And as those two drifted off to the side, Adam Hayne, because he pulled up earlier, managed to hug that apex and pulls ahead. 21 positions gained from the start of that race.
Chris Noble, checkered flag in the air. Chris Noble victorious in Italy. 2 different winners on the opening night of the LMP2 season. And that is a very nice bit of driving. 7th in race 1, started 4th, wins the feature. Does it in comprehensive style. 6.14 seconds to Baz. Distill 3rd, Blue Plate, Bleach, and Dial. And look at this for a battle. David Christensen in 10th, trying to get down on the inside of Aiden Schultz and Aiden Schweig. Kurt Christensen with the lunge on Schultz. No, Schultz got it. 0.03 of a second. Schweikert held off Schultz and Christensen. Howe, Rayhana and Lear. Rayhana dropped to 12th on the final lap, on the run to the line. On the run home. That's unfortunate for Rayhana. It looks as though he might have actually sustained a little bit of damage in that incident with Schweikert. So he lost 4 spots on the final lap and ended up exactly where he started. It's a pair of 12s for Rayhana on a night that might have been, had it not been for getting caught up in incidents. One, of course, he was a key protagonist in it. That was race 1. He was part of the argy-bargy. Race 2, he wasn't involved at all. He was trying to take evasive action. He had no choice. He had nowhere to go.
Right.
Chris Noble, the winner. And quite a few of these guys have already exited stage left, because they know that they've got limited time to get themselves over into the Porsche server, because qualifying is about to start there for the Porsche Cup race. Remembering that it's 12 minutes qualifying and sole qualifying as well at Road Atlanta for a 12-lap race, with the opening one of those starting at 8:45. So that means that they've literally got 3 minutes to get out of this server and straight into the other one because of that tight turnaround, because we had the full formation lap here at Mugello. Leave those results up on screen for me, please, Daniel. We'll get to them in a sec. So bugger all time for the turnaround here, because in a sprint race night or format, you have to be in the cockpit. They're registered, ready to go before qualifying commences, not during, before. So, I mean, we've had a few drivers turn up during qualifying here and make their presence known. And then, but that's when we've got a 40-minute race or a 45-minute race or a 60-minute, 90-minute race. We're allowed to do that. The iRacing matrix is set up that way. But if it's a sprint night, you've got to be in before qualifying starts. Let's bring in Kurt Nomanson for a chat post-race here. One of only a handful of takers on the post-race chat. Kurt, good evening to you, mate. Am I right in assuming that you had nowhere to go on lap 1 and had to try and take some sort of evasive action?
Yeah, and then I think Starkey didn't realise I was so close and gave me aero damage at the start of the race. Not his fault. Didn't realise that I was inside him trying to go around the outside, so here's what it is.
It is indeed. Unfortunate, isn't it? Because, thank you, we appreciate it, we try our best. It's not easy, is it? New car, new circuit, and completely different track conditions for all on-track sessions there, mate. Qualifying in absolutely teeming down rain. A wet track for race 1, a dry track for race 2. So, I mean, everybody thrown in the deep end on the opening night, throwing up one hell of a challenge. So that was always going to add to the degree of difficulty there, and turn 1, lap 1 of race 2 well and truly proved that, didn't it?
Yeah, not so much a new car for me. I did the Le Mans 24-hour in this, so I had a little bit of an idea what I was doing, but yeah, definitely for a lot of the guys, the rain would have been an absolute curveball, especially learning what this car can do in the rain, because this thing is on rails in the rain.
Indeed it is. I mean, obviously, as you say, you've had experience with the car with the Le Mans 24-hour, but for circuits where you wouldn't normally see it run, like Mugello, for it to be in sprint mode when it's more commonly associated with longer form races, how are you acclimatising to that? What do you make of Mugello, and how much are you looking forward to the next 9 weeks, mate?
This is going to be an awesome season. I'm really looking forward to this. This car was a lot of fun at Mugello, actually. It was a lot of high to mid-speed cornering, and very rarely that you sort of dropped any lower than second. I think the only time I did that was the first corner sometimes if I got a bad run. So it was a lot of fun, and I think this car suited the track, and they've done well with the track selection.
looking at the calendar, mate, what do you make of it? What are your favourite tracks on there? What tracks do you think are going to be a little bit iffy?
Honestly, I don't see anything that jumps out at me. Zolder might be interesting with that tight chicane and these numbers if we get that next week, so we'll see how that goes. But other than that, I think these cars should be fine everywhere that they've sort of picked, so it should be a good season, actually.
Indeed. There it is, Circuit Zolder next week, Belgium. Matigi is an interesting choice. Phillip Island will be amazing. Silverstone, of course, home of the British Grand Prix. Laguna and Road America, the tracks that we're synonymous with for the United Sports Car Championship, of course, where you also see these cars run. Fuji and Lagos, and of course Daytona, a famous stomping ground for sports car racing. Are you familiar with the Autodromo, mate?
A little bit. I'll have to do more practice before next week. Exactly to see what this car's going to do, and then go from there.
All right, very quickly before we get to Mr. Distill, who's just jumped into the booth to have a chat to us here, and it's great that he's been able to do that. Let's quickly talk about the rest of the night. Are you jumping into Porsche?
No, I wasn't planning on doing Porsche Cup this season, and work kind of wrecked me today, so wouldn't have done well in there anyway, so I'll focus my efforts towards tomorrow night in the IndyCar.
I wish you well with that. I'll be here for about 6 or 7 of the IndyCar rounds, just not the next 2 because I'm away on assignment with West Bremer Radio here in Ipswich. But no, looking forward to the IndyCar series. Very excited to see that back on the schedule, mate. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. And go well tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Slicks were not the go in race 1. Yeah, we found that out the tough way, Matt Schmidtke, didn't we? Matt Distill, welcome into you, mate. Well done. I mean, a first and a third, you can't ask for much better than that on the opening night.
Yeah, no, very, very happy with that, to get pole as well. I actually thought that this round was going to be all dry, so when I hopped into practice and saw it was wet, I was like, oh no. But yeah, it all worked out, and then yeah, just dodged that bit of carnage in the feature race, which was handy as well. So
some of your offsiders, some of your fellow competitors at the pointy end of town who we expect you to go toe-to-toe with in the weeks ahead, not so lucky in that regard in either race 1 or 2 tonight. But in saying that, mate, I think a lot of people would have been surprised to be dished up such an interesting card on the weather front tonight. Had you had any time in these cars in the rain prior to this?
Yeah, this is the car that I predominantly race on the sim, this and LMP3. So yeah, you'll see me all the time in IMSA and LMP2 fix. So yeah, if it's raining, I'll be there. If it's dry, I'll be there.
Excellent, lovely. You look at the, I mean, and that goes off the point that we were just making with Kurt, and we've got Chris Stark standing by here as well. Daniel will very shortly, for everybody at home, switch across from this server to the Porsches so that we can bring you that race from 8:45 to folks. But Matt, as you say, you predominantly run these cars. It's an interesting addition to our schedule, a new reincarnation of the DownForce Legends. Formerly the Radical cars were prominent here, now LMP2. But normally you would associate these cars with longer form races. So how do you adapt to going into sprint mode with these?
Well, initially my race labs in the first race was telling me that it was a 15 lap, not a 15 minute. So I started the race trying to fuel save because I was like, geez, I won't make it on fuel here. So I was quickly told that it was actually 15 minutes. So then I gunned it again. But no, I like it. I think it's good for these cars. Yeah, there's an element of dirty air, so overtaking can be difficult, but it is certainly possible. So you know, and just to have the LMP2s on the calendar, I think is fantastic, and I think you can see that it was popular based on the turnout we had tonight as well. Yeah,
that was the next question I was going to ask you. What's the feedback been like from your fellow club members here with regards to, I mean, there was a lot of support initially when this was mentioned that we'd be running LMP2 on the schedule, mate. But when you look at the turnout tonight, that's extraordinary. But one thing is to turn up with 32 cars 1 week, and the other is to do it for 10 weeks. Do you reckon we'll see a little bit of a drop-off, or is there enough love in the house for this to be the norm for this category?
I think we're going to get over 20 every week. I think that possibly we might see a little drop off just in the next 2 rounds with Zolder and Motegi. I know me personally, I'll still be there, but they aren't my favourite tracks in the world. But then when you get to Phillip Island, Silverstone, Laguna Seca, Road America, I mean the rest of the calendar's loaded with fantastic tracks for these cars. So yeah, I would hope that we still see good numbers throughout the season.
Indeed. And obviously you mentioned Zolder. What are your initial thoughts on that as a circuit?
Well, I've only raced there once, and that was in GT3
Yes.
in the GSRC, and I haven't touched the track since. So, yeah. So look, it's going to be interesting. I'll do some laps next week, just to get my eye in and see what it is. I think it's really interesting that we're not following the IMSA calendar for this track list. I think that's a really interesting. I think it's a good move as well.
Yeah.
It forces you to do some private practice if you want to take the season seriously.
Are you going to run anything else in our club leagues this season?
You may see me pop my toes back into GT3 land if I feel the need. But I mean, this will take up my priority because, as I said, this is the car that I love the most on the server.
And it showed tonight, mate. I mean, that was one of the first things we mentioned at the top of the broadcast on the formation lap. And I said it to Daniel Correa, the fact that we've got a new play, a new bit of equipment to play with, a new car, it's an even playing field. It might give the opportunity for, as has been proven to be the case here, someone like yourself to step up to the plate and go from being, not as well known in the GSRC ranks alongside the likes of, when I'm talking about the well-known guys, I'm talking about the likes of Rayhana and Dench and Hobson, etc. and so forth. But this is a real opportunity for people to see you thrive, and you've set out and done it on the opening night.
Yeah, I think so. Look, it was a great first round to be sure. I mean, you look at the lap times though, and in the first heat, Ryan Howe was incredibly quick. He was coming towards me towards the end of the race there in the wet, and in the feature race, Noble, who won it there, he had equal pace. So I mean, there's a lot of quick guys in this. So I dare say you'll see some mixed up podiums, and I very much don't think I'll be dominating. That's for sure. But yeah, it is a nice way to start.
Indeed it is. All right, mate, we're going to let you go because we've got 3 minutes left before the Porsches get underway. Thanks very much for that. Well done on the result tonight. Look forward to seeing you on this stage at this time. Whoa, there goes Dane Snadden on a Thursday night throughout the course of the rest of the season, mate. We wish you well with it.
Thanks very much, Zach. See you, boys. Bye.
There he is, Matt Distill. Very nicely done. Starkey, good evening. Just before I get some comments from you, Daniel Correa, you and I are going to have our work cut out for us over the next 45 minutes. Holy, you know what? 6, 7, 8, 9, 51, 52 cars in the server for the Porsches. Now, no. Exactly. Bloody hell. I know that a lot of people were excited to see the Porsches back, but they weren't this popular when they left about 13 weeks ago. So clearly it's a case of I think there's a bit of novelty to that in terms of we've not been able to do it for so long, so it's like, oh well, let's jump in while it's fresh again, while it's
Zach, I run the shop and I see all the orders coming through, and there was once this season was announced, there were a lot of new people suddenly joined when they saw the season with the Porsche Cups, the LMP2s, the WNS, the new version supercars. The membership just went bang.
Yeah, it's extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, and Starkey, just quickly, some comments from you on what your thoughts of the night at Mugello were.
So that's my first hit out in that car. I've actually never driven it before then. Looks like it takes some getting used to, but I had a ball. Yeah, it was good fun. I think it'll stay as popular. Like Matt said, I agree with what he said. It'll stay popular. Can't agree with Zolder. I don't think that's an LMP2 track with the bumps, especially with the chicanes and those curbs. I think there'll be some action.
sorry, I just had to clear my throat. We're ready to go for race one of the Porsches here, folks. Starkey, what's next for you, please? Are you jumping in the IndyCar tomorrow night, or are you jumping in the Porsche now?
I won't do it to Porsche. I've got to go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning, so I'm going to head off shortly. But I want to jump in the IndyCar tomorrow night. I like the IndyCar. I think my focus will be every second night. So V8 Supercars, the LMP2, and then the IndyCar, dependent on my roster. So I'm going to miss 2 rounds of Supercar because of my roster. I'm not sure what I'll miss in the other 2.
Indeed. Yes. I was waiting for it. The Haynes are getting stuck into one another again. That's really good to see. And of course, we're talking about Todd's jump start from many moons ago. Brands Hatch, last time we had the Porsches on the server, which was Turn 1, of course, earlier this year. Starkey, thank you, mate. Appreciate it. We'll catch up with you next week.
Good luck with the broadcast, boys. I'm going to watch from watch mode, and I'll throw the stream up.
Indeed. Thank you, mate. There they are, track and circuit conditions for you. 43 degrees track temperature, 26 ambient, and northerly winds at 20 kilometres an hour. A grid backed up around the corner and up and over the hill, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Pedersen, Campbell, front row. Rogers, Woods, second row. Dench, Knight, third row. Gomez, Merritt, fourth row. Cooper, Hayne, fifth row. Sixth row, Jordan Malcolm, Trent Allen, Jake Jackson, Ryan Preston, Greg Brooks, Shannon Fever, Adam Burhoff, Dylan Shepherd, Dane Snadden, Ross Green. Keep them scrolling here. Trufung Wong, then Jonathan Akers, Paul Wilson, Liam Haycock, Jack Humphries, Jake Slade, Angus Lawford, Jackson Ray Harner. Wow, down in 28th. Jonathan Hooper, David Christensen. Dale Atkins, Adam Lavis, Stephen Gallacher, Dale Sharp, Joe Baldwin and Neil Gladwin. So the 2 wins there alongside one another. Eduardo Zamora, Tim Watson, and then Glenn Arnott and Brett Bradbury. Outside that, it's Barry Punter, Daniel Snedden, Janish Ragwani, Greg Heaney, Tristan Koch, Greg Levine, then Philip Butler, Nick Wood, Robert McGrath, Sam Stride, Aidan Schultz, Pete Matson. Sam Stride will be watching from race control. Doesn't look like Pete's taken to the grid. So it's a field of 50 for you, folks, for the return of the Porsche Cup. I'm not sure if this will be the norm. It's a case of we've gone back to the future. We've brought something back to the table, and there's been obviously some desire for it. These guys have been craving it because they've not had it there. It's not been dangled in front of them for a while. So it's all of a sudden become the flavour of the month once more. And we ask the same question. Will these numbers be consistent? We wait and see. It's quite extraordinary to see Matty Dench starting from only position number 5, ready to fire. The opening race of 2 on the program for the first race of, I think it's 15 this season. Round 1 of 10. Spreyton side of Thursday Night Motorsport Porsche Cup action from Road Atlanta. Let's go. We went 5 green lights and away that time round. Can they all get to the line cleanly? Yes, so far. Then it's a case of getting through turn 1 and then that uphill down-dale run through that squirrely zigzag. Left and right weaving opening split. Opening sector. Enormous carnage. Enormous pile up at turn 1.
Oh, boy.
The Porsches are back, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
The Porsches are back. Oh, boy, I've been waiting for that all night. And you know what?
Oh, man.
It'll be the same in race 2 because, have a look at them, because with 50 and so much, pent-up bloody rage within these guys, just sitting there ready to go.
Oh, no!
And
Aaron Cooper.
Yeah, Aaron Cooper's off the road. There's more carnage. Yeah, Andrew Neal, it is a ridiculous field size for the Cup. And Corey Lazarus apparently not on the grid, so there's some FOMO going on there with the boys saying we should have joined in. I reckon the server would have been 1 or 2 cars short of full. I'm not sure you would have actually got a seat in the house had you left your run any later than what you did to get in tonight. 50 on the grid and already so many in trouble on the opening lap, but everybody's still running. No one's got on the tow rope yet. Neil Gladwin, a non-starter, so we only had 49 get off the line, but they're all still running. And you know why? Because there's no fast repairs. I'm pretty sure there's no fast repairs. So these guys, the onus is on them to just persevere and play with the cards they're dealt and make the most of a bad situation. Adam Burlop up 8 spots. Dylan Shepherd up 8 spots. Remember, there will be an invert top 10 here for the second race. So that carnage you just saw is merely an introduction or an entree to what you're going to get a little bit later on, I reckon. Because if they're going to produce that on the opening lap of race 1, it's the same start procedure for race 2 with an invert top 10. It could be worse. They could surprise us, though. It could be better.
Yeah. I will try my best to
Good luck.
slowly but surely piece together what it is that happened at the start of this race. Now, if I go off my event log, there is a lot of red. So let's try and follow along.
There'd be a fair bit. I reckon you wouldn't have been able to keep up with it so far. Have a look at hip and shoulder at turn 1. And it was car-to-car contact because there were 5 wide on a straight where you probably shouldn't go any more than 4 wide.
Just
and,
look at
and
it.
that's in a Formula V, 3 wide in a Porsche. So, yeah, that was the problem. Too many cars into one corner, all trying to turn right at different times. So the next sequence of events saw Liam Haycock caught up. He just had nowhere to go. And then it becomes a case of everybody checking up.
Yeah, this is up the top of the hill. And then everybody got caught up here as well. So unfortunately, Chuck Fung Wong just, absolutely gets drilled into there. Everyone's trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and it's just a case of once the road's blocked, you've either got to get out of the throttle or you've got to take the hit.
Yeah.
18-10, Dolphins lead South Sydney at halftime Thursday night football. You can watch that on 9. Of course, Wimbledon minus Alex de Minaur pulling out with injury. Women's semi-finals tonight from 10 o'clock on 9 Gem, switching to 9, the main channel, Channel 9, in New South Wales and Queensland at least, and the Northern Territory at 10:30, straight after the football. For Western Australia, that coverage will start over on 9 Gem. But for Victoria and South Australia, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the main Channel 9's Wide World of Sports, the home of the Olympics. Matty Dench already up to 3rd, so on a charge early here, up 2 spots and chasing Jack Rogers. Matty Pedersen has checked out to 1.5 second advantage after 3 laps here. And just checking the race distance around Road Atlanta, remembering that these races are 15 and 25 minutes respectively, folks. 12 laps for the opening race, 19 for the second. And that adds up.
I'm
3 laps every 4 minutes, so that's going to get you 16 minutes for that opening race.
Yeah, I'm probably late to the party, but I just noticed that Matthew Dench has a different livery and a different team name. Fiercely Forward.
Yes, and this was only revealed on Monday night as well. So the colours look nearly identical. They're eerily similar to what they were. But he and Simon Nicholson had been, doing their research and surveying the scene, for lack of better words, just to see if there was an opening anywhere, if anyone was looking for some new recruits, and off they went. So a change of team, the big change for those guys during the season, but the form remains the same. So there have been 2 surprises for me this week, Daniel. 3. One, the weather served up. I thought that was a tough baptism by fire initiation for the LMP2 guys. There'll be a few guys, not happy about that. The second surprise was, as we watched Matty Dench under pressure from Jared Knight. Oh, don't tell me Knighty's finally got his head around the Porsche. He's got to grips with this thing, and he might actually like it as a race car again. Matty Dench. Jack Rogers. Jack Rogers. There you go. So Matty Dench has jumped Jack Rogers, and Rogers has fallen in between Dench and Knight. Now, we need to have another look at that because we were riding with Dench looking out at Jared Knight. We didn't see the overtake. I just saw the name, the number change on the totem pole. Have a look at this. So they were hovering over Rogers like a cheap suit. They'd caught him, and then it's a case of, well, I'll go right and Dench will go left. Thanks very much for coming. Rogers was trying to defend the inside line for that right-hander, but Dench said, no, thanks, I'll just go around the outside and hold momentum, hold sway. Beautiful bit of racecraft from the number 1, going for his 10th consecutive Porsche Cup, we must say as well. We must stress that off the top. 16 minutes and 27 minutes, the race lengths tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Standard procedure for a sprint night in the Porsche. In the meantime, here's Trent Allen down on the inside of Dylan Shepherd. This is for position number 8 at the bottom of the hill. Shepherd will hang tough around the outside, put himself back on the inside, the run over the crest, up over the bump. And he's got 8 back again. Pedersen, 121.225, fastest lap of the race. Matty Dench second now, and with clear air. 3 seconds the deficit to Ben Pedersen. Here comes Trent Allen back down the inside to turn 1. Backs out of it, thinks better of it. Oh, he started around the Porsche doing Porsche things. The rear end's gone. There goes Trent Allen off the road, and that's going to be a big drop. A huge drop down the order. Wow. Aaron Cooper is 15th. Trent Allen is now going to rejoin behind Aaron Cooper, behind Akers, behind Snadden and Lawford. He's going to drop off the first page here. Down in 18th place. Wow. That's extraordinary. Big moment and a costly one. Now, Pedersen, 2.6 to the good on Dench. And this will be just flat-out sprint racing for these guys tonight. They can punch out qualifying numbers in this opening race. No merit in fuel saving here. It's a 16-minute race. No merit in fuel saving. Just go hell for leather from the outset. Pedersen, Dench, Knight, Rogers. Now, we should elaborate as well, folks. Standard procedure for those of you that are new to the Porsche Cup. Mainstay viewers of ours that have been watching the Porsche Cup for many a season will know this. Whoa, here's Jake Jackson under pressure now. Down the outside. 9th is his. Got the better of Adam Burhoff.
Oh, hold on.
Wilson got Ryan Preston. Have a look at this. Burhoff back down the inside. He wants 9th back and gets it onto the main straight. Jackson's in the grass. How good's this? The Porsches are back in a big way on a Thursday night. Pedersen, Dench and Knight, then Rogers, Merritt, Hayne and Woods, and then Shepherd in 8th place. Burhoff and Jackson make up the top 10. Jackson, the winner of the invert at the moment, if things stay as they are, but we know with 7 minutes still on the clock how unlikely that will be. Pedersen, 2.8 to the good. He's maintaining that advantage that he's got over Matt Dench. That's interesting. So Dench will set himself up for the second race, no doubt. And the invert top 10 there. Snadden, 16th at the moment. Chases Jonathan Akers. We remind everybody that top left of your screen, those that have raced in the Porsche Cup before are already split into their respective leagues, their divisions. So the Porsche Elite Cup are the black plates with the yellow numbers on that totem pole. The yellow plate with the white number is the Open Cup. Haney's of the belief that the Porsche Cup car is harder to drive this season. And it'll be interesting to get other drivers' opinion on that at the end of the broadcast. And for those of you that are new and everybody else that has forgotten, the red plate with the white number are drivers that are new to the Porsche Cup. They haven't raced on our GSRC Porsche Cup championship platforms before. And therefore, and there's a lot of new names in that are trying their hand at the Porsche Cup for the first time. Therefore, they haven't been put into a division. And there's 10 of them on this grid. At least. So I'm actually just going to scroll down my totem pole here. Actually, there's 17. Oh, wow. Daniel Snedden on pit lane. There are 17 Porsche to be confirmed cars. 17 drivers having a hit out at a Porsche for the first time on the GSRC leagues. And that means Adam Lavis has got a lot of work to do tonight to work out who's going to be promoted into the elite split and delegated into the open split for the rest of the season. And Jack Rogers is the best placed of those. Jack Humphreys, Jonathan Akers, Angus Lawford also doing well. The one that will get a run up there, despite the fact that he's well down the order at the moment, is Ryan Campbell, of course. He was phenomenal in GT3 the other night in the Pro-Am. We reckon he'll get a promotion to Pro anytime now. And of course, he was up the pointy end of the grid here, but he got caught undone and caught unstuck in the opening lap shenanigans. So that's as much sense of that as I can make for you at the moment. There are 4 drivers sitting on pit lane, stationary. Glenn Arnott's just packed up and POQ'd. He's gone. Russ Green, Robert McGrath, Daniel Snedden, Brett Bradbury and Janish Ragwani are just sitting there waiting for the clock to expire so they're going to have a second crack at it in race 2. Jordan Malcolm, Barry Punter are a lap down. And the interesting thing for mine here is that when you look at the results so far, Dylan Shepherd's up 11 spots, so qualifying wasn't straightforward tonight. Dylan Shepherd up 11 spots. Adam Burhop and Jake Jackson still having a great scrap. Burhop back to 9th. Jackson back to 10th. Wilson up 11. Humphreys up 12. Lawford up 11. Joe Baldwin up 11. Eduardo Zamora up 12. 18 positions gained for Nick Wood. He started right down the back of the grid. 10 each for Greg Levine and Phil Butler. 10 for Aiden Schultz as well. Everybody else has been a big loser in all of that tonight. 31 positions lost for Jordan Malcolm. As I said, he's down 1 lap already. So, I mean, really, to be fair, we've got 43 cars still on circuit circulating. That's not too bad. We've got a few cars that won't be classified at all. It's been extraordinary entertainment from the outset here. We're on lap 10 of 12. Benny Patterson leads Matty Dent, Jared Knight, only a second separating that pair. So Jack Rogers and Rain Campbell are my 2 immediate tips to get promoted into Pro, into the Porsche Elite Cup next week, based on their pace, based on their times. But again, Adam Lavis controls all of that with the matrix that he's put together through many an Excel document and spreadsheet over the years. So that's just giving you a little bit of an insight into what happens here, and when it happens, obviously those number plates will change in any given week. That stuff's all done internally pre-event, so that it presents on screen as accurately as we possibly can. But yeah, to just give you an insight into and back up Starkey's comments there earlier about the amount of people that have come on board here. 17 yet to be given a Porsche split to race in. Excuse me, that frog in the throat already. That's not a Formula V night, jeez. Corey Lazarus, I'm still trying to find the plot. Me too, mate, me too. 2 minutes to go. Benny Patterson's a lap and 3/4 from home. We remind you that race 2 is coming up in a moment, an invert top 10 at stake there. And that will shake things up just nicely. That'll create an interesting game strategically, although I think the onus will be on a lot of these guys to go as long as they can to stay clear of traffic. It'll be easier said than done with this many cars on the racetrack. 14 minutes 20 gone. Here's Adam Hayne under pressure from... Adam Hayne putting pressure on, I should say, on John Merritt and Dylan Shepherd is behind them. They're chasing Jack Rogers. Rogers has actually gapped them now. That really helped Rogers. The fact that Hayne and Merritt nearly got caught together. White flag in the air next time by the line. Knight closing in on Dench. It's only 0.6 to the margin there. Can Knighty get one up on Denchy? Wow, that'd be a story, wouldn't it? So yeah, there's 3 things that have really surprised me at the start of this season. I only got to cover off one of them earlier. There's the white flag in the air one more time around for Ben Pedersen. 1 minute left on the clock, white flag in the air. One was the extraordinary weather conditions we saw for LMP2. Hopefully that's not the norm throughout the course of the season. I know a few drivers that'll love it when it tips down and a few drivers that'll absolutely loathe it. The second was the turnout here for the Porsches. I wasn't expecting 50 bums on seats for the first night of the new term, even if they've been away for 13 weeks. Or 15 weeks actually. The 2 weeks at the end of term 1, the 2 weeks at the end of term 2. So, the other thing as well that caught me off guard was just how little people took up the Mustang and the Chev Corvette on Monday night, when that was all the rage going into the off-season in GT3 across our 3 splits. So, it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out going forward, but obviously it's a pick and stick format, folks. If you're new to the iRacing styles and ways of the GSRC, it's pick and stick. You can't chop and change manufacturers to suit yourself throughout the course of the season. You've got to pick a car and stick to it, and there are penalties for changing partway through the campaign. So, Benny Pedersen up over the crest and down the hill for the final time. What a performance this has been. Lights out to checkered flag performance for Ben Pedersen to win race 1 of the Spreyton Cider Porsche Cup. Term 1 of night 1, round 1, race 1 of term 3 for 2024. And Matty Dench in for second, Jared Knight third, Jack Rogers, John Merritt, Adam Hayne, Dylan Shepherd, Ben Woods, Adam Burhop, Jake Jackson make up the top 10, although Burhop and Jackson, that's going right down to the wire. into the final corner. Burhock's going to get him. Burhock got him by 2 car lengths. Pedersen the winner. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. Regular protagonist at the top end of town, but nice to see a rare, albeit not a first-time win. He's done this before. He is a very good steerer on his night. Bernie Pedersen on top in the opening race of the new campaign. Matty Dench second and Jared Knight third. So despite the presence of quite a few new names, Daniel Carrier, familiar faces reign supreme.
Yeah, but it really isn't that surprising. Sometimes when you've got the first race, the first round, you're kicking things off, it's experience that really gives you that edge. And so what I'm surprised about is that Ben Pedersen managed to hold off Matthew Dench to the tune of 2.8 seconds. So obviously,
everybody's going to be surprised by that. Yeah.
So everybody's been improving, of course, while we had this break here in the Porsche Cup. But Ben came out swinging, as his PGA livery would suggest, and came out with a win. So it'll be very interesting to see, now that we've got a reverse top 10 coming up, how that will pan out as we go for 19 laps.
And looking forward to this immensely, folks. Another 7 laps on the agenda here. 3 laps every 4 minutes. So, I mean, that adds up just nicely for our liking there, with it going from 16 to 27 minutes, an extra 11 minutes, but and only 7 laps within that. But what that also allows for is the quick splash and dash as well through pit lane, and that pit lane transit, it's a long main straight here at Road Atlanta. Wowee, 2.8 the winning margin. Pedersen over Dench, Knight, Rogers, Merritt, Haynes, Shepherd, Woods, Burhock, Jackson, Preston the best of the Open. Humphreys, Cooper, Wilson, Snadden, Allen, Lawford, Gomez, Akers and Rayhan are the top 20. Now, what's going to be interesting here, Corey Lazarus asks a good question. We're going to have a look at the calendar in just a tick. Joe Baldwin's just jumped in for the first time tonight. We'll get to him in just a tick too. Ryan Preston winning the Open split. That might not necessarily be reflective of the fact that that might not necessarily suggest that because he's that far up the field, he should be, pole vaulted up into the elite split. The winning margin might suggest that he should be 16.7 seconds on Joe Baldwin and Eduardo Zamora, but it could also be down to clear air, having a clean run, not being impeded by early incidents, etc. and so forth. So don't read too much into that just yet. Joe, good evening to you. Nice to have you on board, mate. Welcome to a new season of the Porsches. Well done on stitching everybody up with the weather at Mugello as well, I must say, with the DownForce legends. But your initial thoughts on the Porsche Cup opener?
Wow, that start, there was just, I was lamenting, saying, I could see the Michelin man on the side of the building. I was that far back, I could have just gone straight into the pits, and by the time we got to the end of lap 1, I was, I think, 21st or 22nd, I think. It was just carnage, yeah, I don't know. The whole week's been like that, though. Like, the first first couple of laps of just about every race this season, I've got to say, I'm really, really proud of the club at the moment. The numbers we've had in every server has far surpassed probably any other season we've had. So
absolutely.
So yeah, pretty excited with where the club's at the moment, and hopefully I can get another decent result in the Porsche tonight. It's not bad for 0 practice.
No, not bad at all.
Yeah, the LMPs went a little bit longer than we were thinking, so we all jumped in right as qualifying started. So, but we'll go and give it another crack. We'll catch you after the race.
Go well, mate. We look forward to that immensely. There he is, Joe Baldwin. There's the calendar for everybody at home. I'll break that down of what's a sprint, what's not, at the end of the broadcast. But there's the schedule. Hungaroring Spa, Mount Panorama, Hockenheim, Mugello, Zandvoort, Monza, Portimao, and Red Bull Rings. So a lot of European flavour to that calendar. Right, here we go. Jackson and Burhock the front row. That battle will be immense in the early stages if their race 1 scrub is anything to go by. Woods and Shepherd the second row. Hayne Merritt the third row. Rogers Knight the fourth. Dench Pedersen the fifth. We'll just scroll through that for you very quickly, folks, because we won't have too much time to do it. Lights are already on, ready to rock and roll. Race 2 of round 1 is green and away. Will they get through unscathed this time round? Not if they're trying to go 3 wide that time on the main straight of the run down towards turn 1. Burhock and Jackson come together almost on the main straight. And up around the outside of all of them was Benny Woods having a crack. Now, there was contact further back. There was a car in the wall on the pit straight in the grass. But at the moment, same as always, Corey, it'll be 2 drop rounds. Look at the log jam there. Everybody coming to an almost stop, a halt.
Oh, much cleaner than the first race, though.
As they manoeuvre their way through the S's on the opening lap. You're right, though. Much cleaner. Everybody learnt their lesson from that previous race, it would seem. Only 49 starters for that one too, folks. So everybody that started race 1 has started race 2. How often does that happen? Very rarely, especially when... Oh, Patterson's gone. Uh-oh.
And he's holding up Matt Dench.
Dench's in trouble. Patterson, bang.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, the rejoin was savage.
Oh, boy.
Dench's done. Forget about that. Dench's night is done. He won't factor in the results there. Unbelievable. And all of a sudden, there's a lot of people further down the order thinking, well, hang on, we've got a chance now. Because Dench's not going to factor into this. Let's have a look at what happened. Patterson and Dench, there was a slight tap from the car in behind them. And I'm not sure who that was. And then all of a sudden, was that Brett Bradbury? No.
Let's see if we can find...
More trouble on the second lap, just quietly. Brett Bradbury, Glenn Arnott and Tristan Koch off the road. It was Shannon Fever in the 5.53. Jake Jackson is 35th now, so he's come unstuck as well. Ryan Preston's on the tow rope. Glenn Arnott, Tristan Koch and Brett Bradbury all on pit road. So there's been some drama here early on. Glenn Arnott now as well. And just to paint the picture for everybody at home, Adam Hayne down to 22nd position. I'm just having a look. Where is car 1?
Well, for whatever reason...
Well, Denchi's not running car 1.
Correct.
So
He's
Jack Rogers running car 1.
Yes.
So what's going on there, please?
I would assume maybe Jack has set that as his number and it hasn't been updated in the actual league. So
Dench is running as number 22 and he's down in 39th position. That's why I couldn't find him. I was looking for 1. I wasn't looking for the name. I was looking for number 1.
Also, just talking about Porsches. Did you happen to catch that crash? Was it
wasn't that savage? Wasn't that savage in Townsville? Yeah, ordinary. Like, I'm not a fan of. I don't engage with supercar events terribly often, and I was away with work assignments on the weekend anyway. But I did see that, and I actually came home and specifically went to that spot of the broadcast and watched it. Couldn't believe it. There's been some wild Porsche crashes there. That's where Tony Quinn did a huge number on himself. Remember, in a Porsche. There's something about Porsches in that circuit that they just don't agree. 3 of 19 and 3:40 on the clock. John Merritt, 122.261. This is a big seismic shift in this race with Matty Dench out of contention. And you would imagine, and Dylan Shepherd's there as well, coming down on the outside of Adam Burhoff to go to the lead. Dylan Shepherd down the back straight. Burhoff wants to go deep and force the issue. Careful, boys.
He's brave.
Careful. Whoa, nothing in that. Up over the hill. Burhoff holding sway on the outside.
Look at Merritt as well.
Opening the door up, though, for Johnny Merritt, who wants to go through and have a piece of it. Doesn't get it. Burhoff's still there, but Shepherd's covered them off. Hayne, I don't know. We'll have to have a look at some other incidents that have unfolded on that opening lap because Tristan Koch is still on pit road. Greg Levine's, actually, no, he's got off pit road, but he's a lap down. Greg Levine's parked up and done. Glenn Arnott's on pit road, has been for 2.5 minutes. Brett Bradbury has. Jack Humphreys is parked up and done for the night. So there's been some retirements here. Adam Hayne, that's what happened to him. Oh, dear. And Benny Patterson dropped down after all his hard work in race 1 to 41st position. Jesus. Liam Haycock's off the road at the moment and he's dropping down the order. Dench is still struggling down in 39th and down 30 spots. Adam Burhoff still holding John Merritt at bay in 2nd, having got back past him. Jared Knight's on a charge here at the moment as well. So look at this. Look at the positive out of this, Daniel. Right? This is race 2. 3 different winners so far tonight. 4 winners in 4 races. Is that on your bingo card, ladies and gentlemen? It should be. Down the inside. Big lunge. Big send. Jared Knight, Adam Burhop arguing over the same piece of real estate. Knight couldn't get it done. Merritt holds on to second now. Breaks clear of Burhop. Ben Woods is chasing Knight. Aaron Cooper and Jack Rogers going with him. Top 7 in shot on the main straight there across the start-finish line again. Big send down the inside. Knight on Burhop to 1.
Oh, he's going to have to pull it up, and he can't.
And off onto the grass. Did well.
Did well to
Good
keep it.
recovery.
Yeah.
Lost 3 spots, but could have been so much worse for Jared Knight. A costly moment, but it could have been worse. Look at the positives in that. Oh dear.
And just to point out too, there is a respect to be given to these guys at the front here who are racing absolute side-by-side, millimetre between the cars, and they're just not letting up. We saw Adam Burhop going around turn, well, it was the last corner, and just didn't lift. John Merritt's up on the inside, didn't lift. He's like, yeah, there's grass on the outside, don't care. Absolutely pinned it and lost the position, but still is up there in P3. And then we just saw Jared Knight try and do an aggressive lunge and couldn't pull the car up. No ABS in these cars, no traction control. So it's all on how well you can modulate that right foot, left foot or right foot, depending on how you brake, of course.
Exactly. Corey Lazarus makes a good point, actually. We know Dylan Shepherd does a lot of Porsche running on the sim, but of course he works on the cars in the real world down there in Victoria. Travels with the circus as well. He was in Townsville. It happened to be one of the cars from his stable. That was the car in question in that crash on the weekend. So we might try and get an update on that if Shep joins us for a chat post-race here. Thanks for the reminder on that for the memory jog, Corey. Appreciate it, mate. Jared Knight sitting 7th now. Boxed in, unfortunately. Got nowhere to go. He's got Jack Rogers, Aaron Cooper ahead of him. So too Ben Woods and Adam Burhop. John Merritt, fastest lap of the race, 1:21.399, chasing Dylan Shepherd. Got the old experienced hand in John Merritt win a race tonight. He's got some stiff competition trying to prevent him from doing so. Dylan Shepherd to be loving clear air, hanging out in front, leading this pack. Jared Knight sits 7th. We ride on board with him down the back straight. And all you can see is the tail end, the rear of Jack Rogers in front. Knight's going to have a lunge down on the inside to the end of the back straight, to the left-hander. Left. Got it. Covered him off. Right. Next target for Jared Knight is Aaron Cooper. Job done. Racecraft 101. But just watch him be a little bit more respectful of track limits at turn 1 this time around, I'd imagine. Cannot afford a repeat of what we saw there at turn 1 in what's left of this race, because you saw how costly it was, and sometimes you don't get away with it as cleanly. And just have a look at Adam Hayne in the comeback trail here in the meantime, folks. Back up into 16th, down 11 spots on where he started, but he's begun that climb back through the field pretty well. 9 minutes gone in this race. We're 7 of 19. But yeah, sometimes you just don't get away with moments like that as damage-free, as in terms of both structural and track position, as what Jared Knight did just then. Normally, once you get on that grass, you're a passenger. You'll either spin or you won't be able to pull it up and it'll speed off into the wall. Jared Knight was exceptionally lucky then. He wouldn't want to ride that luck too often. Now, here's Adam Lavis.
Whoa!
Adam Hayne for company, down the inside. And Greg Brooks just ahead of them. One of Adam Burhop's teammates at Revolution E Racing. Trent Allen down in 8th place at the moment. Sorry, they might not be teammates, I must stress, because I'm seeing different team names there, but the livery looks almost similar on Greg Brooks as it does Adam Burhop, so I'm not terribly sure whether I'm getting confused there or not. See what I mean? They look similar, don't they?
That was to
Blue and
Greg
red.
Brooks. Yeah.
So we'll seek some clarification on that. Oh, Brooksy with the moment. Jeez. That's, yeah, he's lost a place there. But again, that's one of those danger spots on this racetrack. If you get that ripple strip, it can send you straight into the concrete on either the left or right-hand side of the racetrack. So, damage limitation in every sense of the word there for Greg Brooks. In the meantime, back to Jared Knight, who's back to 5th now, having got past Aaron Cooper. Next target, Ben Woods, up around the outside, if you don't mind. Project 36 just confirming my thoughts there. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Definitely teammates. That's what I thought. I thought for a moment my timing monitor was playing silly buggers on me, and it was. 59 minutes gone at KO Stadium in Redcliffe. Dolphins 24, Rabbitohs 14 as we go around the grounds Thursday night football. And Spreyton side of Thursday night motorsport here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Now, I've got news for you, folks, and it's important. Many networks and programmers will schedule alternative programming, not the usual stuff, around the Olympics because, well, you know, you're not going to be able to compete with that. The Olympic coverage will get eyeballs left, right and centre. It'll have a massive share for the Nine Network. Despite that, we are going to push on. We'll soldier on. We'll push through the Olympic gap, or window, rather, with normal programming. So Monday night, Thursday night, Friday night motorsport for the 2 weeks of the Olympics. We'll be here for you live and free across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. So us on one screen, the Olympics on another two, and there's your sports bar set up for the next few weeks. It'll be fantastic. Alan Burhoff to 3rd as Jared Knight got to 4th on the inside of Benny Woods. Here comes Aaron Cooper. Under pressure from Ben Woods. What about that for a move from Aaron Cooper? Up into 5th, and unfortunately for Benny Woods, he's lost 2 in 2 corners. Knight got him coming onto the straight, and Cooper got him going off it.
I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible, because I mean absolutely nothing, no offense by this, but that might have been the cleanest move I've ever seen Aaron Cooper do.
No.
We know he gets his elbows out, but that right there is a textbook door check. There wasn't a massive hit. There wasn't any instability between the cars. Aaron just put himself on the inside, went, guess what? This is my racing room. Take it or leave it. And although Woods tried to hold on as best as he could, the speed was in favour of Aaron Cooper, and he moves up to P5. But right there, that is the racing we love to see. Jared Knight's now going to try and do it on the slower part of the initial section of the chicane, but if he can hold the speed, it'll work out. No, it doesn't. We'll keep it. Look at Cooper lurking in the background.
Yep. Cooper could be looking at 2 for the price of 1 here, similar to what we saw in race 1 in the closing stages there, if you recall. Main straight again, lap 10 done. So just like that, we're 9 laps away from the checkered flag. Pit stop starting. Jack Rogers, Trent Allen in. Some of the lower part of the field have probably already made their stop as well. Yes, Joe Baldwin, Jordan Malcolm, David Christensen, Jake Jackson have all been in. Dale Atkins, Jonathan Hooper, Ryan Preston, Chuk Fung Wong, Matty Dench has already been in. Up to 36 now, Matty Dench, down 27 spots. Jeez. Yes, that was the worst weekend of races I've ever had. FFS.
It was very
Hello, Ryan
unlucky
Campbell.
for him.
Good evening.
Yeah, very unlucky for him.
Oh, that's, yeah, he's had a magnificent initiation to GT3 Pro-Am, soon to be a promotion into Pro. And unfortunately, you win some, you lose some, and he couldn't have had more polar opposite lucks of fortune if he tried. No luck whatsoever here tonight. All the luck in the world on Monday night. So Ryan Campbell, unfortunately, back to the drawing board in the Porsches next week. You're lucky, though. Corey Lazarus asked the question there earlier. Jared Knight down to the outside again. Can he get Adam Burhoff covered off towards the left-hander before the braking zone even? Yes, he can. Cooper in behind Burhoff. Knight's got to the front of them now. John Merritt and Dylan Shepherd have just gone, checked out. They've taken off into a new postcode. They're another suburb over, ladies and gentlemen. 0.4 the margin between Shepherd and Merritt, but they're 6.5 seconds. 6.5 seconds up the road on Knight, Burhop and Cooper and Benny Woods, who are engaged, embroiled in a magnificent duel and scrap at the moment. Have a look at it. Yes. Well, I was going to say, Run, yeah, you had magnificent pace there, mate, in the Porsches in qualifying, but unfortunately, qualifying's one thing, and when you're out there with 50 lunatics on the same track, it's quite a different prospect. Now, there's, Merritt around the outside! At the end of the opening half of the lap, this is lap 12 and 19, and Merritt's gone to the front. Hot lap bleeds in Atlanta, Georgia. Shepherd will look to respond down the back straight. Merritt's racecraft is one of the reasons he is a dominant force on these platforms in just about anything he gets behind the wheel of. The Porsche is no exception. And now that he's found a way to the front, he'll go from attack mode to defense mode, but he'll do it in a way that he's still quick. Dylan Shepherd's got his work cut out for him here to go toe-to-toe. It's no different to going toe-to-toe with Matty Dench, really. Going toe-to-toe with Hot Lap Merritt. You're going to have to outsmart one of the best in the business. Oh. Merritt, Shepherd, Knight, Cooper, Woods, Burhop, the top 6. Top 12 yet to stop all the way down to Jackson Rayhana. Adam Lavis is up 10 spots. Jackson Rayhana up 8 spots. Lavis has been elevated into Pro. I didn't realise that, into the Porsche Elite Cup from the Open Cup. So that's an interesting development for this season. Adam Hayne now down into 9th place, having started 5th and dropped down the order early on. He's fought back well. But this field is far from clean. So many pit stops still to play out. Back straight again. How deep into this race are these guys running? How long will they go? Will it be 13, 14, 15, or even 16 laps for this opening stint? The splash and dash isn't too far away. Whatever the case, Shepherd, big lunge down the inside. No, thinks better of it. Backs out of it. Follows Merritt through. Lap traffic about to become a factor here. Will that trigger a response from these two in the form of a pit stop? Yes, it will. Perfect timing from both of them. Precise run into pit lane. Hit their markers on the limiter. Let's go. This is where the race could be won and lost. Knight, Woods. Woods goes on. Knight, Cooper, Burhop follow them in. Pit lane very busy all of a sudden. There's 6 laps to go, including the one we're on now. We're 9 minutes from home. We might just run short of the 27-minute marker here, just quietly. Merritt's got the jump on Shepherd on pit road. Oh, no, he doesn't! Oh, no! He doesn't! I thought he had it for a second there. Oh. I thought he had it. We'll need to have another look at that, because I thought he had it.
Look at that, 7.5 in the box for Dylan Shepherd, 7.8 for John Merritt.
That's ridiculous, and that's the difference. 0.2 of a second. My goodness gracious me. Let's have a look at another look at that if we can, mate. Not from the onboard shot, because we saw Merritt go first, and then all of a sudden, the next shot we got told a completely different story. There's Merritt's lunge. Oh, that was side by side. Oh, Merritt yielded. Merritt yielded. That's what's gone on. Merritt saw that he couldn't go 2x2 through there, so Merritt, I think, had his nose in front, but Shepherd had the inside line.
Classic example of putting the G in GSRC.
Absolutely. Gentleman behaviour from John Merritt, because, to be fair, in Hot Lap's defence, I've already passed him once. What's stopping me from doing it again?
Yeah, very true. Very true.
I mean, if that was anybody else, they'd be fighting tooth and nail to retain the spot. That Merritt will fancy his chances of being able to get Shepherd again here. All right, back on pit lane now for Benny Woods.
He's just stopped there, so...
That's extraordinary. Nothing in it, and Shepherd, by the skin of his teeth, holds off Merritt. Jared Knight is 3rd. He's gapped Aaron Cooper. Jack Rogers, Ben Woods, Adam Burhop have found one another again. Mark Gomez, Paul Wilson, Dane Snadden now in 10th place. Yep, awful night for you indeed, Jackson Rayhana, agreed. Parked up and done. That's not like you. That's rather unfortunate. There's a lot of cars out of the race, actually. We'll have to go through the walking wounded in a moment because that... oh, dear. The list of cars that are in trouble or a lap down is probably longer than those that are still on the track. It's extraordinary. Merritt and Shepherd, the difference in lap times. Well, last time around, 145.5 played 146.3. That's not a fair reflection of where we're at because obviously that was pit stop lap. 121.328 is Shepherd's best time. 121.391 is Merritt's best time. There's bugger all in this, ladies and gentlemen. Good on you, Liam. Nice to have you on board, mate. Thanks for tuning in. 4 laps to go at the line. Yeah, we're actually going to get back to... There's 6 minutes on the clock, but there's only 4 laps to go. So 3 laps every 4 minutes. We will finish inside time here. We will finish inside time here at Road Atlanta. Shepherd and Merritt going toe-to-toe for the victory. Jack Rogers has got himself back up under the tail of Aaron Cooper. They're fighting for 4th. A battle for 6th, I should say, is Ben Woods and Adam Burhoff. Gomez, Wilson and Snadden make up the top 10. So Wilson and Lavis now find themselves in the pro split. Wilson was there, obviously, after term 4 last year for term 1 this year. Adam Lavis has been promoted up the ranks between the last time we saw the Porsches and this hit out now, term 3. Joe Baldwin, the best placed of the open split, if I'm reading that right, down there in 14th ahead of Eduardo Zamora. And the tail of the tape is that there are so many walking wounded, it's not funny. David Christensen on pit road, Jackson Rayhana, Jonathan Hooper already out, Liam Haycock on pit road, but Glenn Arnott, Daniel Snedden, Robert McGrath, Ryan Campbell, Aidan Schultz, Greg Levine, Jack Humphries and Brett Bradbury, all out and done for the night. I've lost my train of thought of what I was going to say with regards to Ryan Campbell's comments there. But it was nice to have him jumping in for chat in the YouTube section. Would have preferred it to be post-race though. Up the outside goes Adam Hayne. Hayne trying to get himself back into the top 10. Snadden gets him back on the inside. Oh, the switchback. It's on. It's on. Hayne's still there. Tucked back in. He'll set up and try again. 3 laps to go. Shepherd's got Merritt covered. 0.6 of a second now. It's all happening.
Oh, it's gone up too far.
Oh dear. Adam Haynes done a Jared Knight. Thrown it wide, but gathered it up. At least he was able to gather it up. I like that livery of Jack Rogers. Bring back Cat. John Bow, except in white. For those of you that remember the Cat Falcon back in the 99-2000 era. When he defected from DJR. Right, down the back straight. And again, Jack Rogers. And Aaron Cooper. Whoa! Nothing in this.
Oh,
Cooper's going to make Rogers work hard for this, isn't he?
That's commitment.
Oh, what about that from Aaron Cooper? Wow. This is some of the best Porsche racing we've ever seen. As soon as I saw it was Road Atlanta tonight, I was instantly excited. I didn't think we'd have this much going on because I wasn't expecting 50 cars. But that is extraordinary.
That was a pleasant surprise.
Pleasant indeed.
And although we had the chaos of lap 1, they were very well behaved lap 2.
And yeah, well, that's exactly. And I think you could put another adjective before pleasant, just quietly, but it's not safe to use it at this point of the night. Dylan Shepherd, John Merritt, Jared Knight, Jack Rogers. Stay with us, folks. Plenty to pick apart in the post-race show. We'll run through the calendar in more detail. We'll tell you what's coming up on the platforms, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and so much more. 1.5 to go. Merritt's right there with Shepherd. Can Shepherd find a way to hold on and keep Merritt at bay here? This is the run home. Now the weaving begins. Now the defence work, the racecraft, the gamesmanship. 4 and a bit kilometres to go. Race 2 bragging rights very much up for grabs here. A luckless second race for the two men that dominated race one means we're going to have 4 race winners on the opening night of the term for Spreyton side of Thursday Night Motorsport. But what we don't know yet is who that 4th winner will be. Will it be Shepherd or Merritt? Up to the top of the hill for the final time. Shepherd doing a nice job here. Merritt knows that there's no legitimate, safe place to overtake in the opening sector here. It would be a gamble or a risk, and it wouldn't be worth it. Oh no, hang on, off the road.
One Gallagher, I think.
Yep, the back markers. But that's good because that's traffic that's not getting in the way for these guys.
Oh, now
back straight.
If John Merritt
this is where it's going to need to be set up.
Yeah, if he can.
Merritt needs a good run off this corner.
That's exactly right. 0.4, the gap. That's not going to work well for Merritt, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I don't think he got a good enough run off the corner. I think Shepherd, I think this is his race to lose. Down the back straight for the final time. There is lap traffic on the way.
He's staying well out of the way.
It has got out of the road. Well done. Merritt's too far back. Dylan Shepherd, a beautiful job here to pip John Merritt by the skin of his teeth on pit road to then go on and hold on for victory. Race 2, round 1, Spreyton side of Porsche Cup from Road Atlanta. Dylan Shepherd gets the job done for a Sonic Motor Racing and Blackout. Echuca Toyota Pulse Tuning second, Jared Knight third, Jack Rogers, Aaron Cooper, Adam Burhop, Mark Gomez, Ben Woods, Dane Snadden, Nick Wood, the top 10. Dylan Shepherd is finally a race winner once more in the Spreyton side of Porsche Cup. And there he is working on the Porsches in the real world. Fantastic stuff. Dylan Shepherd, a stroke of luck really. John Merritt, far too generous, far too gentlemanly at this time of the championship. Just going back to Corey Lazarus's point, and this is where I was going with Ryan Campbell's point, because he was talking about it being a shocker of the night, etc. Corey asked earlier, how many drop rounds? Always 2. We haven't changed. We've made some big changes season on season, but that isn't one of them. 2 drop rounds at their disposal this term. So for Ryan Campbell, already 1 burnt. For anyone else that's going to join the championship next week, hello Corey Lazarus, already 1 burnt. For everybody else, yeah, plenty to pick apart there. Well done, John Merritt. I mean, led into pit lane, had his nose in front, but just didn't have the track. Just would have run out of real estate if he wanted to force the issue with Dylan Shepherd, and Shepherd's out of fuel by the look of that. Or is he waiting for everybody to pass by so you can do some celebratory donuts? No, he's towed to pit lane, so he was out of juice. Wow, he was cutting it fine in every sense of the word. So, again, I mentioned it, and it read true, that this race could and would be won and lost on the lane, and as the record books will show, that's exactly how it played out. Merritt gave the racing room to Dylan Shepherd off pit lane, and Shepherd was able to make the most of that generosity and carry on to see the checkered flag first and salute the judges. Merritt, Knight, Rogers, Cooper, Burhop, Gomez, welcome to the Porsche Elite Cup lads. Ben Woods, Dane Snadden and Nick Wood, the top 10. Lavis, Malcolm, Jackson, Allen, Baldwin, the best place to the open split. Zamora, Dench got back to 17th in the end. He's not liking these sprint races, Denchy. It's always been his Achilles heel tonight. Just nowhere to go there with Benny Pedersen's spin, of course. Green, Slade and Wilson. Round 1 and 2 will be the drop rounds for Corey Lazarus. Back in round 3, we're already excited for that. And then down the over the page we go, please, Daniel. Atkins, Akers, Wong, Brooks, Lawford, Greg Heaney, who's about to join us in 26th place. Dale Sharp, Adam Hayne got back to 28th. He was a lap down in the end. So too were Shannon Fever, Stephen Gallagher, Ryan Preston, Janash Ragwani. And then we go down the order furthermore to people like Butler and Punter. So hang on, actually, can we just have another look at that? Philip Butler, 33rd, and I haven't got that on my sheet. sheet for whatever reason. I've got him in 34th, so there's been a swap around there. There's been someone being punted because Rd-1 showing as 33rd and Punter's showing as 34th, but he's showing as 32nd on my timing sheet. So I've got no bloody idea what's going on at the moment here. I'll just read it as it is on the screen there. Tristan Koch, 35th. Tim Watson, 36th. Pedersen was 3 laps down, so I'm not sure if that'll be enough to be classified or not. Christensen, Rayhana and Hooper. And then beyond that, Haycock, Arnott, Snedden, McGrath, Campbell, Schultz, Levine, Humphreys, Bradbury. Wow. What the bloody hell was that? Just extraordinary. Madness. Rip, tear, rush, bust, helter-skelter from go to woe. Just the way we like it on a Thursday night. Joining us for the post-race show, Dylan Shepherd's here, race winner, well done. We'll get to him in a moment. Greg Heaney, John Merritt, Liam Haycock. I'm going to start with the hot lap. Hello, John. Good evening. Nice to have you on board, mate. We felt a little bit lost without Formula V. Your, wheelhouse there in the opening instalment with the LMP2s, of course, now taking centre stage. But nice to see you on the grid in the Porsche, mate. And as Daniel Correa-Sarr correctly pointed out, putting the G back into GSRC, mate, because you gave racing room on pit exit, and I'm not sure you had to, but you did.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Good to be back, mate. I think you can probably run side by side or something else as you come out there, but I didn't, and I actually took a little bit too much fuel, so I probably cost myself. But just, mate, awesome race by Dylan. It was thoroughly enjoyable.
How lucky were you as well, mate? And so too, Dylan, to avoid all the carnage on lap 1. Unlucky for Benny Pedersen and unlucky for Matty Dench, but you've got to make those post winners when those opportunities are presented to you, when your rivals around you come up short and run out of luck.
Yeah, it's Road Atlanta's always a bit of a dicey affair on lap 1, particularly as you come up over the roller coaster there. So, yeah, tough luck for those guys. Benny Pedersen definitely had some mega pace in that first race. So, but I actually changed my setup for the second, and I think it was a little bit better.
Indeed. Now, as far as the rest of it's concerned, mate, there were a couple of comments in our broadcast thread here across YouTube, Twitch and Facebook that the cars are handling a little bit differently, a little bit more challenging or tricky than what they used to be. What were your initial thoughts?
Mate, I haven't driven them a lot, probably last season, but they didn't appear too far different. Still got too much understeer for my liking, but they're always a challenge under brakes, as I found out on the last lap onto the back straight there.
Indeed you did. Well, actually, I was going to say, you were trying to set yourself up. It seemed as though you didn't quite nail the run onto the back straight there, so that relinquished any opportunity you might have otherwise had to have a crack at the end of the back straight.
Yeah, mate, I did the hard bit, but I think Dylan was onto me and just pulled it up nice and a little early maybe, and I was probably running a little hot in there, to be fair. So I undid all the hard work to set it up.
Indeed. What are your thoughts? Actually, let's have a look at this if we can, Daniel. Let's just have a look at the... here we go. Pulse Tuning just pointing out, your teammates, of course, pointing out that you bolted the #1 engine in for race 2. True or false?
Thanks for the lens, Cito. It went all right.
All right, let's have a look at the calendar in more detail if we can, Daniel. I'll just run everybody through what we've got here. So, round 1, Road Atlanta sprint race, we knew that. Round 2, next Thursday night, of course, takes us to the Hungaroring, and that'll be challenging in its own right. Another sprint round. Round 3, Spa-Francorchamps for just the 40 minutes on this occasion. Round 4 is the first of the 2 60-minute races on the calendar to Mount Panorama Bathurst. For round 5, we go sprint racing again from the Hockenheim Ring. Round 6, of course, is Mugello, where we started the night with LMP2, 40 minutes on the schedule there, and that's one of 3 40-minute races in the calendar. 10 and 16 lap races, sprint racing from Zandvoort. That always seems to be a sprint racing venue when we go there. Round 8 takes us to Monza in Italy. That should produce an awesome 40-minute contest. It's 60 minutes again for week 9 for the Algarve International Circuit in Portimao. And then we finish it off with the Super Sprint, as we usually do, from the Red Bull Ring in Austria, with races 1, 2, and 3. So, a good mix of circuits. It's very European-centric, European-heavy this calendar. This is the only round here in North America for the season. The rest of the rounds, with the exception of Mount Panorama in Europe. John, what are your thoughts on that calendar?
Oh, mate, it looks all right to me. Thorough favourite there at round 4, so Mount Panorama, that'll be good. And, mate, we'll enjoy a bit of European summer, so hopefully the rain stays away, Zach.
Well, it certainly was present in Italy tonight, as we saw there earlier with LMP2. What's been keeping you busy, Hot Lap? How was the 2-week break, mate?
Oh, mate, not a lot of iRacing. I've just been busy, mate, with a bit of travel and commitments. So, yeah, and a little bit to come. So I'll just, as always, jump on when I can and enjoy some gentlemanly racing.
And nice to be able to go toe-to-toe in race 1 as well, mate. I mean, everywhere we looked tonight, you had cars to the left, cars to the right, and sometimes to the front and rear as well. There was plenty to play for tonight.
Yeah, thoroughly good turnout too, Zach. I think there was 40-odd cars, so there was always someone to have a race with, and makes it enjoyable, and obviously makes you want to come back. So good to see such a thorough turnout for the start.
The nights where you've got elbow-to-elbow racing and you've got to be on your toes, they're better than the nights that are just a processional stroll in the park, aren't they?
Yeah, and I was pretty happy. I seemed to work out that clutch at the start rather than sit there and spin the rear tyres like I've done so many times. With a nice change.
But yeah, exactly. You started 6th on the grid, so it was 5th in race 1, mate. So 2 top 5 finishes. And on a night where there's such a mixed bag of results up and down the board, to bag 2 top 5s, that sets you well in terms of the points race.
Yeah, it should be, mate. Hopefully I can make it enough times and make it count. It should be a good season.
And it was 1-1 between you two, because you got the better of Dylan in race 1 and he got the better of you in race 2. He started 4th, of course, which meant that he finished 7th in race 1. We'll bring him in for a chat right now. Thanks, Hot Lap. Appreciate that, mate.
Thanks, Zach. Cheers.
Dylan Shepherd, good evening to you. Welcome. Congratulations on bagging a W. That's a great result to start the term. We've got some other issues that we need to cover off with you in just a moment, but let's talk about the fact that the Porsche Cup is back and you're in the winner's circle, mate. What a great way to start.
Yeah, no, it was an awesome race. Just hats off to John. That was probably one of the most pressured drives I felt like I've had in a long time. He, you know, I'm normally pretty vocal about fuel-saving races, and I could just tell the way he was approaching me in the braking zones that he wasn't fuel-saving, like you could tell. Because I'd look at my mirror and he's just 2 car lengths on me under brakes at the end of the back straight. So hats off to him for actually pushing and making it a hard fight, because it just made it so much more fun. And like I was pushing every lap. I was looking at my delta, I was looking at the gap. I was just under pressure the whole race, and yeah, thanks to John for such a good race, for being a gentleman on pit lane. Yeah, I mean, we came out, I think, nearly dead side by side, and I don't know what the rules are. We know what iRacing's like when you can have ghosting.
Yeah, exactly.
So I knew he was to my left. I didn't know if he was like if we were inside each other, like iRacing can be. So I was kind of like, do I just gun it and hope that he's just going to gun it and we're just together as one, or what's going to happen? And I saw him back off, and yeah, just that helped a little bit, and probably a bit too nice of him. He might not do it to me next time, but yeah, he definitely could have got me there. He was just pushing me so hard, and yeah, just stoked to come away with a win.
Coming back to you in just a tick, mate. Just quickly around the grounds for everybody tuning in at home. 36-28, Dolphins full-time over the Rabbitohs. Thursday night football. Only 5 games this week. Everybody counting down to Origin next Wednesday night. Of course, game 3, 7 o'clock Wednesday night. Kick-off an hour later. Just going back to you, Dylan. I mean, that was an enormous performance from you, but you must have been pinching yourself when you saw Benny Pedersen and poor old Denchi get caught up on lap 1. You don't normally get gifts like that.
Yeah, I actually haven't gone back and looked what happened between the two of them. Bit of a shame. I think Benny's just come out of the gate absolutely swinging, like his pace in qualifying, his pace in race 1. Keep an eye out on him this season. I think he's going to be the one to watch, and if anyone can take it to Denchi over a whole season, I think Benny could do it. So hats off to him. Bad luck for him, and I hope he can finish it off in the next few rounds.
What have you been doing with yourself in terms of the sim rig over the last 10 weeks, mate? I mean, obviously we've not had the Porsche Cup here, so therefore we haven't seen you. But obviously there's been some improvement at your end as well. And obviously we notice now Blackout Dash Sonic Motor Racing, so the Blackout boys have taken you on board for this term as well. So just talk us through then and now, because as I said in the opener, it's been nearly 15 weeks since we've seen Porsche racing on our platforms.
Yeah, I mean, the Blackout OPR mode has been together for a couple of seasons now, probably over 12 months now. But the team has absolutely exploded in terms of just pure talent joining the team. We've expanded a lot. I think it was just me, Corey Lazarus and Semi Sproul at one stage, and now we're up to a roster of nearly 15 drivers. So that's just been awesome to see that growth. We've had so many big results in big races over the sim outside of GSRC with no Porsche Cup, a bit more endurance stuff. So it's just awesome to see that team growth and all the boys working together, and every kind of series that we're doing, keep pretty much racing nearly every night of the week, I think. So it's really cool to see that. Sim rigs have jumped on board and they've absolutely helped our team out like you wouldn't believe. I've actually upgraded finally after probably 10 years of running the same Fanatec Club Sport belt-driven wheel. I've finally got a Sim Magic wheel. I couldn't have done it without sim rig support. So yeah, massive thanks to them as well.
Mate, those little 1 and 2%ers, they might not seem like much, but they, at the same time for you guys, the drivers, they make all the difference in the world. And I can only imagine that as the team has grown, as you quite rightly highlighted there, that comes with things like knowledge, feedback, camaraderie. I mean, and you're not isolated in this is not an isolated case. There's plenty of teams that continue to grow. Just ask Greg Heaney, who we'll get to in a few moments' time. The sim racing world continues to grow and the teams are only getting bigger, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, I've been in this game, I think my racing account's over 15 years old now, so been around it for a while. The team's been around for a little bit, and yeah, as I said, everyone's growing, and it's always awesome to see. You know, you see teams come and go sometimes, but you definitely see some that stick around, and you see them grow. You see the growth in the drivers and the teams themselves, and I think GSRC is just a perfect example of just watching guys grow and move forward. So it's just awesome to come back here and race against all the guys that I used to race against a season ago, and yeah, have just absolute legends like John Merritt in your mirror.
I've got at least 3 more questions for you, with no disrespect to anybody else. Here's the race winner tonight, so we'll just drag this out a little bit longer. But point number 1, your thoughts on the calendar, firstly.
Yeah, I haven't had too much of a look at it, but I heard you talk about it before. European tracks, love it. I think European tracks suit the cut car so much. So it looks like a good season. Unfortunately, I won't make next week with Pro Cup at Sydney Motorsport Park. So, but hopefully, if the series is as good as round 1 tonight, I'll be coming back as much as I can. Spa will be great. Hopefully, you can make that, and as many rounds as I can. So, as you said, European tracks. Hopefully a summer. I mean, I like the rain, but also like hard racing as well. So,
and obviously there's a couple of other trips coming up for you with regards to the Porsche. There's, I think you got one to the Apple Isle as well in there at some point. So as far as clashes with the GSRC or conflicts are concerned. So that is point number 3. Point number 2, last time we had Porsche Cup on our platforms, the iRacing Tempest weather system hadn't reached it yet. That's changed, and that's one of the reasons we've brought it back, just to reinvent the wheel. And obviously the interest is there, as is evidenced by the field turnout tonight. What do these things drive like in the rain? Have you had any opportunity to test that yet?
Actually haven't even driven the Cup car in the rain yet. I mean, I've been so focused on the GT3 side of things. Definitely done a lot of GT3 rain races. Yeah, something I definitely need to get into testing. If they're anything like the real car, I mean, the feedback from the drivers in real life is that they've actually got a lot more grip than you think. So it'll be interesting to see what it is on the sim. I didn't test it out, but yeah, looking forward to that.
Indeed. It's interesting that you say that because when it comes to GT3, mate, are we a Porsche loyalty person there as well, or are you there because they've brought the Mustang and the Corvette in?
Oh, Porsche all the way, mate.
Porsche all the way. No, I thought that was the case, but sometimes you'd like to give me a bum steer, so I have to clarify just to be sure. And obviously, the last one that I can think of for the moment, you touched on it yourself. I know we don't normally talk about it here a great deal. I know we mentioned it in terms of it's part of your work and what you do, but Corey Lazarus highlighted a bit of important detail that we should cover off with you. How's the team bounced back after extraordinary scenes in Townsville on Saturday morning?
Yeah, I thought the question might come up. Yeah, look, the team, Connor's all right. He's actually one of the apprentices in the workshop. He's been back in the shop this week. Worked on the car, started stripping his car down today. You know, spirits are high. We're a close team, family kind of oriented team. So everyone got around him, made sure he was all right, lift his spirits up, and we've just got to push on and work hard for the next one.
The next round for the Michelin Sprint, is that Tassie, or have you got a trip up here?
Yeah, we've got a trip up at QR with the Speed Series.
Speed Series, yeah. So tight turnaround.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we're not actually sure. I mean, we've assessed the car. There's not much we can do with it.
No.
The options moving forward, we're not too sure what's going to happen with budget and everything else that goes on in the racing world. But if there's any opportunity to get him back on track, no matter what the workload is, we'll be there to the late nights to get him back on track because he deserves to be there, and I'm sure he'll pay it back.
Okay, I'm just seeing something on screen there that we didn't see earlier, and it explains so much. So you might want to talk us through. Anyone else just catch that for the first time? Yeah, me too. I must have been looking at the timing screen or something else when we saw that John Merritt took the lead, but he got a little bit of a helping hand there. You scraped the wall coming out of the left-hander up the hill over the ripple strip, and damn lucky to get away with it, I'd say.
Yeah, I thought the car was probably going to be written off to the straight. Yeah, just as I said before, John was just pushing me so hard. There was not one lap that I backed off or braked earlier. Every lap was just pushing that braking zone, pushing when you can get on the throttle, pushing how tight you can run the curb. And that one lap, I overdrove a little bit, set me out to the wall, hit it, and John went past me, and I went, right, I've just got to pit this lap and take the faster pair. And then I went down the next straight and went, oh, it's still straight, and he's not driving away from me. I might be able to stay out for another lap or two. So thankfully these Porsches are built tough in the sim, and we got to fight towards the end.
And obviously, because it's only 12 minutes down the road from me, if there's an opportunity to get out and say good day to you guys at the QR round, I will do so. So we wish you guys all the very best with the repair work there, the rebuild, and pressing on for the rest of the campaign, not least, of course, the cup round in between, just to, make things more interesting, as if you needed that already. Mate, well done on the race result tonight. Terrific to see you back on the grid on our platforms. Feel free to stop by on a Monday night and race GT3 anytime you like there as well. Just wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But we know that time is of the essence for you. So well done. Great way to start the new campaign. Look forward to seeing you on the grid when time permits throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, thank you, Zach, and thanks to all the boys behind the scenes running the show, both on track and on the broadcast. So, yeah, looking forward to it, and we are definitely overdue for a chat at the track. So, yeah, if you come out, hit me up. I'd love to have a chat.
Done. We'll make sure we do that for sure. There he is, Dylan Shepherd, ladies and gentlemen. Great to catch up with you, mate. Thank you. Let's press on here. Greg Heaney's in the house. Jared Knight's in the house. I think I might start with Jared Knight, actually, because, Knighty, I'm looking at the results here, and it says third next to your name. Have you finally found a sweet spot with these Porsches, mate? Because at one point there, okay, let's put Suzuka to one side. We know that you hate that track with a passion, but at one point there, you were like, I'm done with these cars. I'm fed up with them. But a nice break from them, walk away, come back, and all of a sudden, it's like a new beginning.
Yeah, I don't know. They've done something in the update to the car. I don't know whether it's the change in the weight distribution or the new tyre model, but yeah, it just seems a bit more forgiving. So got a handful of laps in over the last week and a half, and sort of learning how to come to grips with it. But a couple of solid results tonight. I kind of think I probably had enough pace for the win in that second one, but just that little mistake trying to get past Burhoff and getting stuck behind that group again, and the two boys were just too far up the road towards the end to make any kind of attack.
And I mean, one little slip up, mate. That's only 1 foot wrong all night. Some terrific side-by-side racing, some terrific scrapping, but thankfully not a detrimental run off the circuit at turn 1 there early on in the piece in race 2.
No, I think I just got maybe a little bit spooked by Burhoff braking maybe a little bit earlier than I thought. I thought he might have fought it a bit and just put me off my brake marker, and car just hopped on a bump and locked the right front, and when you're sort of on the limit you can't really afford for that to happen. So just sort of got out of it and tried to stop the thing from rotating around on me, and it was unfortunate to spin Adam in that contact. It was I didn't even feel that, and he was unlucky enough to go around there, but I guess very little mistakes made tonight, so can only go forward from here.
Indeed. No Suzuka on the calendar, so therefore one happy Jared night. Talk me through the rest of the schedule. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a great schedule, to be honest. It's nice flowing tracks, a bit like Dylan just said there, not European tracks. Sort of suit the Cup car. You're able to sort of flow it around nicely. Next week will be a good race. I do enjoy Hungaroring in these cars, but unfortunately I won't be there. So that's a slight shame. But I'm not too sure what what my calendar's looking like, if I can make majority of the rounds. But if I can, I don't think I'm going to be unhappy with any circuit coming up.
It's interesting because I look at the Hungaroring and it usually throws up such a dull Formula One affair, and that's about the only time we see it on the international schedule. So it's interesting to hear that there's actually a driver out there that likes the track. We'll follow up on that in the weeks ahead. Get everybody's thoughts on that for next week. Obviously, the other question I should ask here is how was the break, and how much time was spent on the sim rig as opposed to maybe putting the feet up and doing something different with the Thursday night?
I mean, the break was all right, but I didn't put the queue in the rack intentionally. I actually got struck down with COVID over the break, so so I was quite cooked for about a week, and didn't really do a whole lot, but jumped in sort of the back end of last week and started to get some laps back in, and unfortunately missed Monday night due to work commitments, but we'll be back on next Monday. I think it's actually I don't know where it is next Monday. Brands Hatch, and looking like a bit of a wet affair, so that'll be really interesting. I'm not quite sure what car I'm going to be in yet, but we'll do some testing over the weekend.
Indeed. I guess the other thing as well, proof there, ladies and gentlemen, that COVID is still a thing. Who'd have thought? But despite my views on that, let's talk about a couple of other things here, mate. One interesting aspect for this championship is going to be the wet weather if it presents. How are you feeling about that?
A bit like Dylan, I haven't turned a lap with a wet track in this car, so that might change my view on it if we start to struggle a bit again, but we'll have to just throw some test sessions up and see what the tyre model's like. But I tend to think it might be all right. The LMP2, I know it's a completely different car, but no ABS and whatnot. It's actually not a bad car to drive in the wet if you need to sort of nurse it around. But we'll just have to wait and see which rounds turn out a bit moist.
Indeed. And of course, we're looking forward to seeing you back on the grid, hopefully round 3, despite obviously not being here next week. But I guess that highlights the point as well, mate. Corey Lazarus and a few others already feeling the pinch here if they're going to jump in after round 1. to the fact that you're not going to be here. You've got to make every post a winner when you are here, and you certainly were able to do that tonight.
Yeah, you got to make the most of it, especially knowing that you're not going to make every race. You just make the most of the opportunities you get, and I guess it might be a bit detrimental to the racing. Sometimes you might be a bit more cautious, but wasn't overly cautious.
No, no. But how lucky you were to actually get away with it, because 9 times out of 10 you wouldn't.
Yeah, she was wanting to rotate around to the right. And just sort of got enough steering lock on it, and thank God it's not the old grass model. It would have been skating everywhere, but
True.
Yeah, got away with it, and knew we had the pace to get back through this group, and did so. And just the other 2 boys were just a bit too far up the road.
The old grass model was always morning dew like, wasn't it? Yeah, incredible. Hey, Nighty, well done, mate. Great start to the new campaign. We can only hope that when you're here, you're able to press on with that momentum and take it forward for the rest of the championship. Looking forward to catching up with you in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, cheers, Zach. Thanks, mate.
There he is, Jared Knight. El Presidente's in the house, but I want to go to Greg Heaney first. Greg, I see a red box with a white number next to your name, which suggests that you are a newbie to the Porsche Cup, without a cup an elite or an open description next to your name, so you haven't been delegated into a class just yet. Sorry, folks, I know what I'm trying to say, but trying to actually articulate it to and know it and articulate it are 2 completely different bloody things. But Greg, what are your impressions of the night that was? 49 cars on that grid. It was bedlam.
Traffic jam.
Yeah,
reminds me of the Monash Freeway. No, look,
fair call.
Probably the first few laps in this car I've actually turned in anger, apart from a few practice laps here or there. And coming from an LMP2 into this thing is, I think the only thing they've got in common is, as Jared said, is they don't have ABS.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Oh dear. Now, just quickly, with regards to all of this, Road Atlanta, great racetrack, throws up good racing. Talk us through your night in terms of the results. Are you happy with what you've achieved here so far? 43rd in race 1 gave you very little room to fall backwards, so the only way was forwards. And 17 positions gained is actually a box ticked, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, I threw a setup in the car that I've got through one of the subs that I'm on, and then just went for a drive. I did a few practice laps for qualifying, if you will, because I only think I jumped in with about 2 minutes before the close out of the session after the LMPs. Threw a couple of laps around, put at least a time on the board, so I wasn't starting from the very back. I was already on top of the hill, which was enough back for my liking. And then, just did what I could to get around through the carnage of race 1, lap 1, through turn 1, and then I think it was turn 4. Managed to make it through that, and then I think I just overcooked the tyres at a couple of points, and then just managed to stay out of everybody's way because obviously the faster guys are coming through. Made a slight change to the setup and stiffened the front up a little bit for race 2, which for me made the car feel a little bit more compliant. It just went from there. So happy to get to the end in one piece. I think I only had 2 incident points for the whole of race 2, so I'm definitely happy with that.
Indeed, and talk to me about a couple of things here. One, the rest of the team, in race 2 particularly, Dane Snadden, the best of the stable.
Yeah, well done to the boys. I know Ryan Preston was racing for us as well. I know I did send him a livery earlier this afternoon before we all jumped on. The boys weren't in comms with me for the race, but I did see that they were a fair way up on the tree, so yeah, well done to them. I'm not sure if I'm going to have any other guys with us. I think it'll just be very rare this one, but there's other rare of us in the LMPs as well. So firstly, you're John.
Indeed. But we're talking about earlier in the evening, LMP2, Mugello, and the full mixed bag of weather conditions.
That was actually quite interesting. I know myself, Jackson and Aiden were doing practice laps like you wouldn't believe 2 days ago. And then I jump in and the boys jump in comms and it's like, I hope you brought your gum boots. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's absolutely teaming down. And they're like, you've got to be kidding.
Yep. And all thanks for that, by the way, can be sent in the direction of El Presidente himself.
Oh, yeah, I gave him some stick for it too when he jumped into the session. It was like, you were playing with the weather gods, weren't you? He was like, no. I was like, I'm calling BS on that.
Not me.
Nah, it was good fun, Joe. It was good driving. It certainly mixes things up a bit, particularly through like the practice sessions and so forth. Like I will admit, in the LMPs, you've already got a limited field of view due to the size of the cockpit. The minute you're sitting behind somebody, I think I was sitting behind Starkey through one of the practice laps, and I could not see a thing.
Indeed. And Mugello was an interesting launch pad for it as well. It'll be interesting to see what comes of the rest of that championship. Give us your thoughts on the Porsche Cup calendar, mate, while I'm asking everybody else.
I'll be here for the lot. We'll persevere and do what I can. I don't expect to be crazy fast. I've no doubt that I'm going to get put into the open category. I don't think I've got the pace of the elite boys just yet with this car. But we shall persevere and work our way through it, and as I always do, and I'll get there.
And of course, we're looking forward to another fantastic week of racing, starting with GT3 on Monday night. And I know you'll be front and centre for that as well, mate. So well done tonight. I mean, there were a few people that had to just sit there and watch the clock pass by at the end of race 1 before race 2 started, but everyone that started race 1 started race 2, and that's an achievement in itself, and a little bit more of a common sense, calm approach for race 2 after the chaos of race 1. Greg, good luck tomorrow night and for the rest of the weekend, and we'll see you Monday.
No worries. Cheers, boys.
Liam Haycock, good evening to you. 10:09 Eastern Standard Time for those of you just tuning in, folks. We'll get you out of here by 10:30. Wimbledon, of course, on the wide world of sports, the 2 women's semi-finals tonight on the back of Thursday night NRL. Liam, introduce us to Liam Haycock and his iRacing story, please, because you're one of, as I said in the broadcast, 17 newbies in the Porsche Cup, mate. So welcome to the baptism by fire, as it were.
Yeah, so I've just gotten into the Porsche Cup this iRacing season, so very new to it, don't know what the old model for the physics was. I was hoping to be able to at least finish the races. Obviously I didn't manage to do that in round 2. Last night was my first ever time in the GSRC as well, in the GT4s in production car, which my only plan is to just keep improving over the next 2 weeks, as that's the only time I really have to run in these races, because after that it's just too late over here in New Zealand.
Ah, yes, across the ditch, where it is 11 past midnight on a Friday morning, so we won't hold you up too much longer, mate. Now that I know that too, by the way, we'll try and get you in a little bit quicker next week. But in saying all of that, so obviously new member of the club, that's point number 1. Starkey's been talking about it already tonight, the continual overturn of members, new returning and outgoing, but the numbers remain steady, and it's because of people like Liam joining the club. We'll get Joe's thoughts on that in just a moment. And the reason why we're talking to Joe a little bit later than everybody else is because it's only 11 past 8 on his side of the pond over there on the west coast on the other side of the dollar wall. So, so Liam, who is the mutual contact here that's put you into contact with the GSRC? I noticed Lame Sheep Racing is who we're running with. So just talk to us, A, about how long you've been in iRacing Caden before this, and B, who the mutual point of contact was.
Well, it was Curtin and Bardo. I've been watching and haven't been interested in it, just never had the time. And I've been on iRacing for like a year, just over a year now. Before that I was on Assetto Corsa, but just got fed up with the multiplayer.
that's fair. That's fair. What are your thoughts on the calendar and what's ahead? And obviously, you know, by being a member of the club, that we offer so many other different championships across the course of any given week, 10 weeks a term. Is there anything else tickling your fancy here?
Well, I mean, I'm planning on doing 2, not Mountain Men this week, but the 2 other weeks, so MX-5 and hopefully the Pro Truck looks quite fun. Also the GT4s I'll be doing the first couple weeks, but next week for the Hungaroring I don't own the track, and Spa I'm hoping to do, but I'm not quite sure yet.
Copy that. Talk us through your night at the office and what you made of the racing out there.
Well, I had both times I think I had quite good starts from the rear end of the field, but race 1 I just got caught up in a first corner incident, had nowhere to go and got hit from the rear. So the car was damaged and couldn't really push much for the rest of that race. But I managed to finish, and then in the second race I just kept spinning the car and going into the wall, so ended up having a lot of damage and retiring with like 6 laps to go. Had some good racing though when I was able to race, which was very fun. Was happy with my pace, about where I was expecting, if not higher than where I was expecting, but just couldn't be consistent enough. So it was quite good fun.
All right, very nicely done. Let's quickly hurry along here and get your thoughts on next week. So obviously the Hungaroring and sprint racing again, and the Hungaroring is not an easy track to overtake on. So if we get numbers anywhere in the vicinity of what we get tonight, it could be very challenging.
Yeah, well, as I said earlier, I don't actually own that track, so I'm not going to be racing the Hungaroring Saturday.
Oh, you can treat yourself.
Nah.
No. Fair enough. All right. In that case then, mate, hey, welcome to the club. Nice to have you on board.
Yeah.
I mean, the official welcome should actually come from the president, but because I'm anchoring the broadcast, I'll do it on his behalf. Welcome to the club. Great to have you on board, and looking forward to seeing you on the track more times throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, thank you. It'll only be the first couple weeks though before I'm going. But yeah, thank you.
We're addictive, Liam. You'll be back for sure. And an interesting fact on your sponsor, it's not, and most people pronounce it Chupa Chupa. It's not. It's actually Chupa Chup, and it actually is Spanish for sucky suck. It's actually a Spanish treat. There you go.
There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of different things to say with regards to that, Joe Baldwin, but I'm going to wait until we get off here, please. Liam, thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Have a great night.
Hey, you too. Bye.
Have a great morning, actually, in your case. Already a Friday morning over there in NZ. And as I say to everybody when they talk to me about going to the East Coast or the West Coast or whatever else, over there, because of the lines of longitude and latitude, the time difference makes a lot more bloody sense than what it does here in Queensland between October and April. And there's your bingo card for tonight. Joe, good evening once more.
Good evening.
If the numbers of week number 1 of turn number 3 are anything to go by, we are in for one hell of a season, my friend.
Oh, look, it's one of those proud dad moments. You know, the whole committee. We met on Tuesday night, and we were all, shocked by the turn up Monday night, and it's just followed on. It just feels like we've ticked every lotto box this season. So the numbers, the new guys, like the amount of new members that have come in, like Liam that we've just spoken to, and there's a lot of new faces right across the whole week. There's a lot of fresh faces there that are in more than one of our servers as well, which is it's just fantastic. Like I say, I think we'll be coming up the end of our 4th year shortly. I think nearly onto our 5th. I think fairly soon. So to still be as relevant as we are and going sort of from what I feel strength to strength with what we're offering the community, it's certainly. It's certainly something to be proud of for every one of the members on the committee, past and present as well, mind you. It's, all the way back from, Paul Nichols right through to Simo that I took over from. Every one of the presidents in between and all the committee members have all brought us to this point where I think as a club we certainly can stand tall and be very proud of what we're doing.
Indeed, we can. Now, congratulations, because our good friend, our esteemed colleague, Adam Lavis, who is above me here, has promoted himself.
He has.
He's gone from open to elite, and that just goes for everybody at home. That's the man with all the numbers and all the authority to apply the splits where he needs to, and where the club sees fit. He plays by the rule book and doesn't advantage himself in any way, shape or form. He's promoted himself up into the elite split. So on the back end of that, mate, well done, because you were the first open split racer home in that second race.
I was, and I think might have been second in the first one.
I believe so, yeah.
Look, this car is like, a celiac drinking milk for me, is what it's been like. But the changes, this is, it's only the second time I've driven it. I think we did a fun race last week at Silverstone in this car, and I somehow managed to win that one. And it was just good fun. Like the car almost made. I still don't have the outright pace, but it makes a lot more sense now. So long as you don't lock a wheel, it was always very iffy if you lock the wheel, but now it's almost like the ABS, sprays olive oil under the other three tyres if you lock a wheel. The thing it doesn't slow down. It's almost like it accelerates if you lock a wheel. So it really pays for patience to not make those errors. If a small error can become a very big problem with this car. I guess it's always been that way, but it's that margin for error is probably a little bit wider now since the update, which I'm actually enjoying.
Indeed. Handling the traffic out there would have been a fairly difficult assignment, I would imagine. But thankfully, once the field spread out, we saw some good door-to-door racing.
Yeah, look, from my cockpit, the start of both races was pandemonium. It was like a smoke fest. It was sort of right up around to the back straight on race 2, and I think even in the last chicane in race 1, I think there might have been a little bit of drama there as well. So it's, look, there's a lot of cars, and qualifying pace and race pace is, a lot of guys are really fast in qualifying, and their lap 1 pace is not there, so whether they just try and push too hard, and we absolutely saw that in the LMP2s. It was actually a bit of a cluster the start of the first race especially, but the second race settled down and it was really good with the LMPs. But in this one here, it was just, I don't know, it's been a lot of it this week, a lot of first lap, first race jitters, I guess you'd say. There's been quite a few early incidents in the week in a lot of the servers, but I think it's just that first season back thing, like that first race week back. We tend to go through it, and I guess it probably seems compounded just simply because of our numbers at the moment are so strong. So, but somehow I managed to avoid all the carnage in both races. I don't know how.
No, I was going to say, you don't normally have that sort of luck, Joe.
No, but I managed to zig when others zagged and got around it. But like last night in GT4s was a perfect example. One of the guys, I was right behind Adam at the end of lap 1, and as we come, this was at Gilles Villeneuve, and coming on to not with Villeneuve, I can't think of the word, but anyway, coming onto the straight, a car spun, hit the wall on the inside. I managed to zip through and it just bumped at him, but broke his right rear wheel. Like, it's just the luck of the draw. Yeah, at the moment, just the condensed fields are great. You know, it's it's just how it is, and it's the same for everybody, I guess. So yeah, some weeks are diamonds and some weeks you're in the rough, I suppose.
Indeed. Now, the other obvious question I've got for you is LMP2 Mugello. Great start to the new season. Great start to a new category. It's giving Nat still an opportunity to thrive on broadcast platforms for the GSRC, and that's the great thing about bringing new categories in. If you find the wheelhouse of members that aren't normally at the forefront of any given category, it gives us a new name to talk about, a new name to introduce the audience to. But from your own personal standpoint, what do you make of that?
They're a very tricky car. The rain, having the rain early in practice, and as the day went on, it dried out and dried out, dried out. Every season was exponentially different to each session was so much different from the last, with the pace of the car and where you could drive on the circuit. And it's whether it was through luck or good management, I'm not sure. But I loved what it threw up for the whole race server, being that we encountered all aspects of what the Tempest model has got for us. And I don't think anybody dropped out, which was good. Unfortunate for Hobbo in the GT3 the other night. Hopefully you can get on top of that. But it really showed some guys were really, really good in the rain, and other guys were good in drying conditions, and guys, it was just dynamite. I don't know how someone was five seconds a lap faster than what I was doing, and I felt like I was on the ragged edge in the wet, and guys were 5 seconds faster. So just in the dry it was a second, I suppose, second and a bit. So but it's great to see some fresh faces up there, and Matt certainly put on a bit of a show. I think he smashed us in the second one.
He cleaned up in the first one, absolutely. Apologies for the fact that I'm MIA tomorrow night, but we're excited to see IndyCar back on broadcast as well. So you've got that to look forward to, and then Mountain Men, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Mountain Men. I've thrown up a couple of wild ones for the season, like the Riley that we've got on this Saturday night. It's a favourite of mine. It's been around. So I think I'm into my 11th year on the server on the service. And the Riley, I'm pretty certain, was there from day one, and it's such a fun car to drive. So looking forward to that on Saturday night. We've got the Pro 2s, the Legacy BMW Z4 later in the season. I'll be missing a couple of weeks. I've got a surgery coming up in about a month, which will knock me out for a couple of weeks from all racing. But I'll still be in the booth and chatting when I can be, and as soon as I get home. But certainly looking forward to what's going to be a great season. But Saturday nights will certainly, the guys that have been racing it, I'm sure they'll come back. But the Pro 2 truck, I think that's going to be a really big server. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, we hope everything goes well on the medical front, mate. Absolutely. First I was made aware of it too, folks, so that caught me off guard. But we do hope that goes well, and we're going to touch base quite frequently, more regularly throughout the course of the season with you, mate. So we'll leave it there. Thanks for your time as always, and appreciate it. And we'll look forward to the rest of the schedule for the Porsches. And if the racing's anything like what it was tonight, you beauty, bring it on.
Oh, look, I haven't had a start to a season like this for a long, long time. So, bring it on. It's going to be fun. I actually enjoy this car now that it's had a bit of a change, and just it's so out of character to see Denchi not dominate with this car. So it's going to make, I'm sure he'll get his head around whatever it's going to take to be fast in these cars. But he's got some stiff competition out there this season, so it's going to be very intriguing to watch the pro guys.
Indeed it is. There he is, El Presidente on the other side of the motherboard. Thanks, Joe. Quick couple of things to pass on once we get off air with you as well. And I'll do that very quickly because I know you're an early to bed sort of guy. Adam Lavis. Adam Lavis, very quickly, if I can bring you in. Congratulations on promoting yourself up into the elite split. I mean, extraordinary numbers tonight to start the new campaign.
Yeah, big field. Very interesting that the fact that the first race went long and you had no practice, just straight into qualifying, made it a bit tricky. Starting at the back of the field, we were a whole bunch of us there, all of us AER guys at Jackson were like, oh, we can see the Michelin Man, and there's like, we're all down to it was like Joe could go straight to pit lane if he wanted to. It was like, and then all of a sudden, yeah, we got a good start, and then everyone else in front of us didn't, so we got to pull up, and then it was just carnage everywhere. And luckily, we had old Davo there. He's David Davison. He was going through the field and just acting like our Moses, just dragging me and Joe through, and we got through unscathed, so that was good. But yeah, and then it was weird though, because we even after that, we thought we passed 1 million cars, and we're still only not even in the top 20. So it was just like, what's going on? There's so many cars, Eddie.
Ridiculous. Fresh off the press too, ladies and gentlemen, I want to get this in before we get off air. 2025 Formula One sprint races will be at the Chinese Grand Prix, the USA in both Miami and Austin, the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa, the Brazilian Grand Prix, and in Qatar as well. So 6 sprints again for Formula One in 2025. They are the venues, so a little bit of change year on year there, but still exciting nonetheless. Adam, your initial impressions on LMP2 as well from a racer standpoint, mate?
Yeah, no, it was a bit interesting to wet. It's like very sketchy in the slow corners, but it was, even on the puddles and stuff, it still wasn't too bad. Like from wet cars, it was a fairly predictable wet car, which was good, especially given it was teaming down. And then yeah, in the dry, probably the one thing it lacks is braking performance. Like, it doesn't brake as good as you'd think a car like that would, which makes it a little hard. It's the 2 things, yeah, brake performance and the lack of draft. Like, it makes trying to get a run and get a pass done very difficult, because you only gain like half a tenth in the draft, and then you can't really outbrake them because everyone's on the brake limit as it is. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to work it out, I think, because it's very fast through the corners, very fun car to get right. But if you get it wrong, you know about it.
Indeed you do. Hey, mates, thank you for that. And of course, looking forward to watching you in action throughout the course of the rest of the season. Consistent run tonight. 21st in race 1. Yep, got caught up in a little bit of garbage. 11th in race 2. Good solid push. And looking forward to seeing what you bring to the table for the rest of the season now that you're with the heavyweights for the outright fight as well. Thanks, mate. We'll catch you tomorrow night during the IndyCar.
All right, thank you.
And Joe Baldwin, unfortunately, flying solo for that, ladies and gentlemen, because I was asked to do Friday nights, but obviously, because we hadn't been doing Friday nights for such a while, I'd already had local sporting commitments teed up on 3 of those first 4 Friday nights. So once week 5's here, stable run through the balance of the season, but very much looking forward to that. Daniel Chris, final thoughts from you before we wrap up and get out of here, mate.
Well, look, just an awesome night, Thursday night back to kick off the season. I am still kind of reeling at 50 cars here in the Porsche Cup. That first couple of turns, that first race, oh boy. But it was good to see that it cleaned up, obviously, on race 2. And if we can, I doubt we'll see those kinds of numbers every round, but if we do see up there, if we're getting 25 to 30 people, I feel like the Porsche Cup could be a season for the ages. As for the LMPs, I think we're in for a cracker season, especially when you spice things up like rain. We got a really good glimpse as to how that really affects it. And it wasn't even, let's be fair, it was a wet race, but it did not rain during the race. It was left over from the qualifying and practice session. So if we see,
show you how much it rained in qualifying.
Exactly. So if we see a longer round and rain decides to make its presence known and it's actively raining during the session, then yeah, we could see a totally different thing again. But as far as the round 1 goes, absolutely nailed it. I think it was a really, really good turnout, and good racing was happening. Well, not all But
No, not all, but the bulk, the vast majority.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, 4 different race winners in the Porsches, 2 in the Open, 2 in the Elite, and 2 different winners in LMP2 for DownForce Legends. Can't ask for much more than that on the opening instalment of Spreyton side of Thursday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club for Term 3 of 2024. We do it with thanks to the great people at Spreyton side of Waste Options, Orbit Australia, Loadsy Racing, M-Wave Australia and Flash Graphics, and also, of course, the great people at merch.tgsrc.inc. Let's, as Daniel Correa scrolls through all of that for you, let's have a look at what's coming your way on the platforms of GSRC across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube for the balance of week 1 and, of course, the bulk of week 2, right through until the next time we're with you here next Thursday night. Silverstone tomorrow, the IndyCar Series gets underway. 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. There's an S and there's a D there where there should be an S, Australian Eastern Standard Time. Race start tomorrow night, Silverstone for the IndyCars. 35 laps or 65 minutes, whichever comes first. Joe Baldwin with you for that one, and hopefully he can find an offside to sit in for the hour in the weeks that I'm not here for the course of the season. Saturday night we go to the Mountain Men, of course. The Riley first up. Oh wow, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Sunday is nothing at this point, so that takes us to Monday. Dual double header, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time and 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Ride America first up for the Super 2 and Super 3 series. Sorry, that was week 1. So I need to go back and have a look. Week 2. Scroll through. Bloody scroll.
Oh, that's right.
We're off to. Yeah, sorry. Yes, Interlagos for the Supercars first up. That'll be fantastic. That'll be phenomenal. And then, of course, Brands Hatch for sprint racing for the GT3 with thanks to Waste Options. We'll have a... I'm just having a look at the broadcast breakdown here. Next week we'll have a Pro and an AM split race there for you. So a Pro and an AM next week. The Pro will be the second as per usual from Brands Hatch. Tuesday night, open wheel night now on the platforms of the GSRC. Introductory Formula first up.
Yes, these are all going to be in first week.
That's right. So
yeah,
there's the Formula Ford next week, and this is from Alton Park. The Foster's configuration of Alton Park. Wings and Slicks then on to Fuji International Speedway. Again, 2 sprint races there for you. So Wings and Slicks night on the platforms of the GSRC is now Tuesday night, and it's Australian Eastern Standard Time still for the moment as well. Wednesday night, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Production Car Challenge takes us to Long Beach in the Toyota 86, the sprint racing there. Sprint racing follows, just a standalone single race for the GT4 Challenge from Navarro, one of the new circuits on the server. 40 minutes there from 8:45 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Thursday night motorsport on the platform for the GSRC. Circuit Zolder first up for LMP2. DownForce Legends, 40 minutes first up, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Then on to the Porsche Cup from the Hungaro Ring sprint racing there again, as was the case tonight, 8:45 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And looking forward to all of that immensely. Wow. GSRC Endurance Championship, information more on that a little bit later on in the piece as well. And don't forget the merch store as well, folks. Merch.tgsrci.com or gsrcmerch.myshopify.com. Either link will take you to where you want to go. And race.tgsrci.com. For more information on how to join the club and how to get involved and what we're all about and what we're doing. So make sure you sink your teeth into all of that as best you can. We're done on the platform for the GSRC. Daniel? Adam?
Hey, Chris, have you had a chance to look at the points yet?
No.
I just finished the Elite Cup. The top 3 all on 49 points.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, hang on a sec. Hang on. Let's go with Porsche Cup and Elites. I'm just trying to click the link properly here, folks. Porsche Cup, there it is. Here we go. Opening it up for you. Top 3 for the round, folks. How's this sound? Dylan Shepherd, Jared Knight, John Merritt, 49 points. Whoa, holy smoke. 45 for Jack Rogers, Matty Dench on 38. So, despite the fact that he had an absolute shocker, Dench on 38. 37 for Ben Woods, Aaron Cooper, 36 and 33 for Ben Patterson, Mark Gomez, 33, and Dane Snadden, 29. Jake Jackson, 29, make up the top 11. So it's 49 points apiece. The championship alive and well, and a very clear sign as to, oh Jesus, how competitive it's going to be throughout the course of this season. A three-way tie for round honours. I don't think we've ever seen that before. Well done to Dylan Shepherd. Well done to Ben Pedersen, of course, on the race 1 victory. Well done to John Merritt, Jared Knight. Well done to Matty Dench as well. We're done. Wow. 2 broadcast nights down, 1 to come with Joe tomorrow night. IndyCar is back. We're so excited about that. We've got some great tracks ahead on the schedule there for you. And we've got some great racing to come across Mondays and Thursdays as well for the balance of Term 3. Season 18 for the club, off to a flying start. Chaotic start for some, but huge numbers right across the board. We've enjoyed it. We hope you have as well. And if you have, then we finish happy. That's what we're all about. Thanks for hanging in there with us throughout the course of the night, folks. Appreciate your company. Look forward to doing it all again next week. And of course, don't forget, massive weekend of motorsport in southeast Queensland at least. Production cars and XLs at QR tomorrow on Saturday. ASBK, Superbikes, two-wheelers, Morgan Park, Warwick, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And that's just the national stuff, of course. On the international stage, we're talking IndyCar from Iowa and NASCAR as well. So a lot to look forward to over the course of the next couple of weeks. And as far as our platforms are concerned, back in action tomorrow night, 8 o'clock with the IndyCar from Silverstone. Wimbledon continues on the 9 Network straight after the football, and it's women's semi-final night from the All England clubs. So plenty of sport to sink your teeth into if you're a night owl. On behalf of Daniel Correa-Sar and the entire broadcast commentary and production team here, hope you enjoyed the first instalment of Spreyton Soda Thursday Night Motorsport for Term 3 of 2024. Look forward to doing it all again Monday night when Week 2 gets underway. In the meantime, from all of us here, I'm Zach Caban bidding you a very good night.